Are you like? Are you like?
I hope.
I saw somewhere. I can hear.
So just let us have quiet. So, Also say good morning to our keynote speakers and our distinguished ladies and gentlemen on this event. Let me thank you for coming today. But I want to first of all recognize those who were here in our first edition, which we held in March this year. The theme of that edition was growing your business through crisis, survival, and sustainability strategies. And for those of you who were in that event, you will agree with me that it was a huge success. It was at a time when we were coming out of the first quarter of this year, and we felt that people needed the tools necessary to go through the crisis and to survive thereafter. Now, considering that we are still in that post-pandemic mode, we still think that we should continue to have these events, observing normal safety protocols and COVID rules. And that's why we're having this event, this second edition, virtually. But I want to promise you that you will still enjoy this and get as much value, even though it's being held virtually. My name is Victor Ituoku, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this event, which is really, it has as its goal and objective to build capacity for all our clients and our distributors and make them have the tools that they need to be ahead of the times. We, as a bank, Access Bank does this regularly. We consider ourselves as a key element of the economy, and we are always trying to see how we can add value to the players and operators of this economy. We will continue to pledge our support to our customers and our clients, our distributors, to be with you as partners all through the times, helping you to be the best that you can be and achieving your business objectives. As you know, the world is still hindered and affected by COVID-19, and our country is going through hard times. So the theme that we have for this second edition, which is the new sales strategy and tax management, has been specially chosen to help you. to give you all that you need to know how to manage your taxes, how to drive your sales, and how to get ahead in these tough times. We have put together a team of established and very excellent speakers who will take you through tax management, understanding what you need to do to improve your financial management, as well as people who are experts in sales. We have Mr. Paul Fo, a sales expert who is trained in Dubai and is also a business coach. And we have Mr. Fatai Adeshina, a renowned tax consultant. I will assure you that today's event will be very rewarding to your business and to you as individuals. And I will ask that you pay attention, okay, so that you can get the best that you can get out of this session. So please sit tight and enjoy the rest of the session today. I wish you a very pleasant time with us. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Victor, for that very inspiring opening speech. And with that being done, we would dive right into the middle of the business of today. But before we start the webinar, I'd like to share some ground rules. We encourage our listeners, our customers to send your questions, feedback, and comments using the Q&A chat box at the top right corner of your screen. When sending in your questions, feedback, or comments, please use your name and designation. For example, Emeka Adebayo Ahmed, MD CEO, Emeka & Sons Nigeria Limited. During this webinar, we'll try to answer as many questions as possible that can be accommodated within the time frame. Also on this webinar, we will be taking questions verbally from customers. If you wish to ask a question verbally, please do so by using the raise hand button to notify us that you want to ask your question, and would enable your mic for you to ask your questions. Those are the ground rules for this webinar, and I would go on to introduce the first speaker for today. He'll be taking us on the sales segment. He's none other than Mr. Paul Fo. Paul Fo is Nigeria's #1 sales coach. He's the CEO of Catalyst Consulting, a sales training and outsourcing company, and a Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria certified training company. He's the CEO of Sales Factory Africa. Paul Fo is a TEDx speaker. He designed the customer service charter for 7 NMPC hospitals across Nigeria. He has taught sales in prestigious Lagos Business School under JCI program. In 2008, he trained 13,000 River State primary school teachers on effective communication. He's currently the resident sales coach for a multi-billion-dollar real estate company, Lekki Gardens. Paul Fo is the author of 6 best-selling books. He has featured on CNN and Slate magazine. He lives in Lagos with his wife of 13 years, Vivian Paul Fo, and together they have 3 sons. Hello, Mr. Paul.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you
Paul
for
will
having
be
me.
taking us on the presentation. And after the presentation, we encourage you to send your questions. You can send your questions using the Q&A chat box, or if you wish to ask your questions verbally, please do so by raising your virtual hand. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Paul Fo.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. So let me share my slides so that we can take it up from there. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Fo, as I've been introduced. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Sales is the lifeblood of every business. I think I should use this mic so that it is louder and the quality of the audio is better. Okay. Sales is the lifeblood of every business. That means that just as blood is to the human body, so is sales to a business. Without constant and predictable sources of sales, a company will not survive in this 21st century world. The late management guru, okay, I've been introduced, I don't want to talk anything about myself anymore. The management guru, Peter Drucker, put it beautifully when he said that the 21st century will be called the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexities, and tremendous competition. And that is the world that we're living in right now. We live in a world whereby when change is coming, it doesn't tell you it is coming. You just have to be prepared. I told somebody yesterday that if you live ready, you will not have to get ready. No, you don't hear me though. I'm gonna say that again. If you live ready, you will not have to get ready. When COVID was coming, COVID did not announce to us that it is coming. We just have to improvise and innovate so that we can survive, or so that our business will not go down the drain. Some businesses went down the drain, but you are still standing. And I say, I salute your courage. I salute your entrepreneurial spirit. Operating in a tough environment like Nigeria, and with the support of Access Bank, you are doing well. Sometimes, entrepreneurs, we don't celebrate ourselves. So I need you to celebrate yourself. The change has come, there's an increase in raw materials, and that will be reflected in the way that you pass on prices, to your wholesalers as a distributor. All right. So that's why we need a support, like a great institution like Access Bank, to support your businesses to take it from glory to glory. And because of the COVID changes, there was a proliferation of neighborhood stores, and more people began to go to more of the open markets. So there are a lot of changes that happen in consumer behavior. So how do you deal with those changes? How do you sell in the midst of all those changes? The first thing you want to look at, you want to re-look at your routes to market strategy. Look at the word I say, re-look. You want to re-look at it, re-look. It means look at it again. What worked? What did not work? What are you doing currently now? How can I improve on what is working right now in my route to the market? Your route to market, of course, is that your strategy of taking your product as a distributor to the wholesaler, either in the open market or in neighborhood stores, because some wholesalers now have their shops in neighborhoods. All right, I experience that in where I live. Now, I want to add this here as I go along. Some of the things that I'm going to be saying here today, I need you to have an open mind. I don't want you to have the mind that, I've already heard this before.
Mr. J.
Can I go on? I can hear someone. Okay, good. So I've already heard this because like I keep telling clients every time, it is not what you hear that changes you, it's what you do with what you have heard that changes you. It's common sense, but we have to do it every single time. We need to mute someone that's speaking. All right. So how do you relook at your routes to markets? Why do you think a Cristiano Ronaldo or a basketballer will go to the gym to practice? They will do what they did yesterday. They repeat the practice over and over and over again until it becomes a part and a parcel of them. Until this strategy becomes the culture of your organization, your people have not gotten it. So when you repeat something, repetition is indistinguishable from truth. What it means is that whatever you repeat, people tend to believe it. So I want you to repeat a lot of these strategies, because I'm going to share with you some really, really good strategies that you can use for your business. I like this quote a lot to kick things off. It's a very powerful quote. The man said that he's a billionaire himself, but he said that superior sales and distribution by itself can create a monopoly, even with no product differentiation. This is a powerful quote, because if you think about it, in all areas, whether you're in beverages, whether you're in telecoms, whether you're in the cement, whether you're in transportation, if you look at it, there's really no difference between your product as a distributor it's another person who is a distributor. There's really no difference. What will differentiate you is the strength and the footwork and the network of your distribution. He who has a better, a quicker distribution network is the person that is going to win in today's post-COVID world or during COVID world. That's why this quote is it's so powerful. So whether you are in transportation, whether you are in beverages, whether you are in cement, whether you are in telecoms, whether you are in food, the stronger your distribution network, the stronger you're relooking at your routes to market, the better it will become for you. So for example, you can look at your as a distributor, you may want to go faster to the open market. You may want to go faster and you may realize, oh, I will need a better transportation so that I can get to the open market faster. That's where Access Bank comes, as a support for you as a distributor. All right. So the faster you can get to a wholesaler in the open market, the higher the probability that you will sell more. Or you can also begin to sell to wholesalers that are even in neighborhood markets. In neighborhoods, because there are wholesalers now that are even in neighborhood shops right now. So you want to move faster to those people. Also, if you are a wholesaler, you also want to sell both in the open market and also at the shop in the neighborhood store. So in both ends, you are winning on both ends. Those are the strategies. Another strategy that I thought about that you can also use that visibility is very important to sales. Let me say that again. The more visible you are as a wholesaler to the wholesalers, the more visible you are as a distributor to the wholesalers, the higher the probability that you will sell. So are you in the wholesalers meeting? Do you know what's going on in the wholesaler meeting? Is there a wholesaler association? Is there a reseller association? What can you do to become more visible to more wholesalers or resellers? Because the thing about sales is that it is visibility that leads to sales. People don't buy from you because you have the best products. People buy from you because you are aware to them. You are in their consciousness. You are in their form. So it's very, very important that you look for a way to either, is there a resellers association? Is there a wholesalers association? Are you in touch with the wholesalers in the market? Do you have a good relationship with them? That way, it begins to expand your route to market. They can even begin to recommend or refer people in their network to you. All right? Study your environment to know the specific distribution strategy that will work. What worked before COVID will not work during COVID or after COVID. So you need to rethink it. I was talking to one of my clients, and the client says to me that, you know what, Paul, my HR had come to me and said that our people should be working from home. This is before COVID. I said, no, people should come to work. They should come to work. But he said, Paul, you know what? During COVID, I did not see the MD of my company for 1 year, but work went on. You see, crisis and changes forces you and I to rethink our strategy. So if you think about it, COVID came with some good things. It forces you to rethink how you go to market. So study your environment. What is working? What can work better? How can you improve on what is currently working? How can you improve your speed to market? How can you improve your response time to your wholesalers and to your resellers? Right. Next, you want to invest in relationship marketing. This is very, very key. Remember, I said what you are selling, every other person is selling. You are not the only distributor. So what will make somebody leave another what will make a wholesaler or a reseller leave another distributor and come and buy from you? It is because of one word, the power of relationship. They say people don't care how much you know. People don't care how wealthy you are until they care how much you care, until they know how much you care. So we're in the relationship market. That's why there is a powerful tool in your phone called WhatsApp. WhatsApp is used by billions of people all over the world. Billions of people all over the world. WhatsApp is a tool that if you use this tool very, very well, I am telling you, you will have top of mind advantage with your wholesalers and with your resellers. How do you use WhatsApp? You may be asking me. That is a very, very good question. And I'm going to show you how you can use WhatsApp now. Number one, you can begin to send WhatsApp message to your wholesalers or to your resellers on their wedding anniversary, on their wedding day. Or you can even put an alarm on your phone, on your top clients or your top, wholesalers, maybe not all of them, your top of the top, like the ones who are bringing in the most of the deals for you, put a reminder. Can you imagine you receive a call on your birthday, sir or ma? You receive a call on your birthday or on your wedding anniversary from a customer of yours, maybe the person that you do laundry with, maybe your children's school owner. They call you on your wedding anniversary or on your birthday out of the blue. How would that make you feel? You remember that school a lot. It will give you an emotional relationship. Like when I get a text from Access Bank, it's my birthday, a text like that, it makes me happy, even though I don't even know who sent me the text, but it just makes my day, it just lifts up my spirit. It just makes me more emotional that day. So I want you to try that with your resellers or with your wholesaler. It will change your relationship with them. Guess what? Can you imagine you send them a text this week and they need to restock their shop? Who do you think they will remember first? It's not somebody else. Come on, it's you. It's you, because you remember them. You were top of mind in their hearts. Next thing that you can even do is that, do you know that you can even put your resellers in a WhatsApp group with their permission? I'm telling you, this strategy made me millions. It helped me to make millions. Put them in a WhatsApp group. How do you do that? You can ask all your resellers or wholesalers. I'll say, you know what? I want to be in touch with you more. I want to give you tips on how to grow your business. I want to share valuable information with you. You can even make it exclusive and say, you are part of my top wholesalers that I want to put in this group. Every week or once a week, I will share with you tips on how to grow your business. They will feel good about it. Maybe you saw a video on how to grow a business. Maybe all the tips you now hear from this conference now, you can repackage them to fit their own business, because when they grow, you also grow. That is the thing. If they win, you win. My goodness, I feel something right now. This is so good. This is so good. This is so good. So stay in touch with it. That's why you take advantage of your relationship with Access Bank, because Access Bank is like a lever that you can use to expand your business, help you to get to your market faster, get more trucks, get more equipment, get more tools that can make you more successful in your business. Next is you want to retool your sales team. This is critically important. Have you trained your sales team in the last 60 days or 90 days? Have you sat down with them? Okay, you don't have time to train them. Have you gone to YouTube and play a sales video for all of them to watch? You see, that means that they are using old school knowledge to sell to your people, to sell to your resellers. They don't know. They need to upgrade. Even software, they upgrade the software in your phone. They upgrade the software in your laptop, because they know that what worked yesterday will not work today. You must upgrade the mind of your staff. Upgrade the mind of your salespeople, because a lot of times you are losing business because of an incompetent salesperson. Let me give you an example of what happened to me. There's a microphone here. I don't know if you can see it. In my study here, I bought this microphone a few days ago. I saw the advert of the microphone on Instagram. Two adverts, because I wanted to buy. I sent them a message. I said, I want to buy this microphone. How much is it? The first company I sent a message to, they didn't respond to me. The second company I sent a message to, immediately they responded to me. They sent me a WhatsApp again. They showed me different colors of the microphone. They showed me different size. I went to the store a few days ago and I bought this microphone for 140,000 naira. Guess what happened to me? Yesterday, the first company, that is a few days later, now called me and said, sir, you make inquiry, say you won't buy a microphone. How far? I say it's too late. Baba, it's too late. I don't buy another microphone. Can you imagine? It took them 3 days. May God deliver you from bad stuff. May God deliver you from staff that will not respond to your wholesalers or your resellers when they make an inquiry from you. All right? So quick response is a competitive advantage in every business. I'll give another example. When you respond to your customers, when you have WhatsApp as well, it will also help you know when these guys need to restock. I'll give another example. So this is a telco's example now. I have an internet in my home office here where I work. I pay them every single month. Now, I'm supposed to pay them on the 28th again to renew my subscription. Do you know that as a day before yesterday, they've started sending me texts? They say, Mr. Paul, you have a few days to go. You have a few days to go. Do you know, I just renewed my internet subscription today because they reminded me. Are you reminding people? Are you using WhatsApp? WhatsApp is a free, is a cheap tool. It's an easy tool. So you use it to give exceptional customer service. Another way to give exceptional customer service is that recognize some of your wholesalers. Also recognize your staff as well. Anybody who did an exceptional job, recognize the person in front of every other person. I don't know whether you buy them a t-shirt, whether you give them a commission, but just look for a way. Why? Any behavior you reward will repeat itself. Let me say it again. Any behavior you see your staff do, your marketers do, right, that you like, you need to reward that behavior so that it can repeat itself. Let me share a story with you. I heard a story of a fisherman. He was going to get fish, and then a frog came out of the water. And he said this frog is disturbing. So he poured gin inside the frog's mouth. The frog went back inside the water and began to swim. 45 minutes later, the frog came out again with 2 bigger frogs. Why did the frog come out with 2 bigger frogs? Because he rewarded the frog with gin the first time. That story is a folk tale that shows that any behavior you want to see, reward it. All right? And then incentivize your sales force. You maybe give them a book, something like that. In fact, I'm giving each and every one of you a free copy of my latest book, Irresistible. I will drop a link whereby you guys can just get the book, download it for free. That's my gift to you. I thought somebody would clap and say thank you. I sell the book for 9,000, but I'm giving it to you guys for free of charge. The e-copy, you get it free because you attended this conference. I'm giving it to you on behalf of Access Bank because I believe in what Access Bank is doing. So that's my gift to you to grow your businesses. And I think that if you apply all these principles, it will help you to grow your business successfully. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Any observations? Was I good with time? Hello? Hello?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
At
much.
this point, we'll be receiving questions. Please,
awesome.
if you'd like to ask your questions verbally, please use the raise hand button on your screen to indicate, and we'll enable your mic for you to ask your questions. However, if you want to send your questions typewritten, you can also send it using the Q&A chat box at the top right corner of your screen, and we'll ask the question. So we're taking questions for Mr. Paul right now on sales. All right, Onyinye Ekemezie, your hand is raised, your mic has been enabled, so you can ask your question. Onyinye Ekemezie. You can unmute your mic now, Onyinye, and Mr. Paul will answer your question.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
I was actually trying to ask a question. I'm trying to commend the presentation. It's awesome. That's actually what I'm trying to do.
Thank you very much.
The presentation is very good. I think I've learned a lot listening to you guys. It's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
right.
grateful. Yeah.
Nkechi Nduka, your mic has been enabled. You can ask your question now.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to appreciate what is being done. I can also testify that I've learned so much today. I got interested in the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming
complexity, and tremendous competition. Yes.
Okay, tremendous.
No worry, Nkechi, let me tell you this. It's called accelerated change.
Yes.
Overwhelming complexities, complexities, and tremendous competition.
Okay, fine.
So Nkechi, hang on. Let me just tweak that tremendous competition to you. So what that means is that typically your competitor is someone that you can see. Is it not so?
Sure.
So now with this COVID world, your competitor may just be some young person online selling to people digitally on Instagram.
Absolutely, yes.
So what we're saying that you need to step up in that direction. so that you don't lose
Exactly.
market share, you don't lose ground. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nkechi. Right now we'll be taking Osas, John Osas. Your mic has been enabled. Please unmute your mic to ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you,
Yes.
sir, Mr. John. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I came late. I connect the line very late. I'm the CEO of South Diamond Communication, residing in Port Harcourt. I think this is a welcome development. Since I started my business over 6-7 years now, I've never experienced such an invitation from any bank or in any other parastatals in what way whatsoever. So I want to really appreciate you guys. And I believe that God Almighty will continue to bless you all. Although I came late, I don't really know, I'm not aware of the presentations and all that, I'm not acquainted with, but I'm so happy that I was able to connect to the meeting, though I'm late. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Monica, can I say something to everybody that I just thought about now? Can I go ahead? Since it's still my time. Can I go ahead? I didn't get it.
Yes.
All right. Good day, everybody.
Yes.
All right. So now, if you think about it now, we are all in a Zoom call now, about over 200 of us, 202 of us on this Zoom call. So that means that you can even test it out with your wholesalers. Can you have a conference with them on a Zoom call like this, so that they see your face? They see your face. You demonstrate things to them. You carry them along. They will love you more. You'll be closer to them than somebody else. Some of them may be saying, me, I don't know anything about Zoom. Listen to me. I did Zoom training for a group of government teachers. All of them came to Zoom, government teachers. I was laughing at them. I said, I know if it's not because of COVID, when I'm not going to enter Zoom, they say yes, and we are enjoying it. So you need to, people are flexible. You need to try it, and they will like you for it. Can you imagine? Just teach them, how to grow your wholesale business. Simple tips like that. They will like you more. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this class. This is good.
So there's a question here, Mr. Paul. It says, what do you do when competition uses lower pricing as a tool? I am in the telecoms industry.
So what do you do? There are two ways. I always say all the time that when you fight the race of price, it's always going down. You want to ask yourself a question. Okay, with the price that we're giving, if you look at your margins, if you look at your economics, you find out that there's no way we can reduce this price. You want to ask yourself, what else can we give to them in addition to this price? What kind of service? How can we sweeten the pot? So I'll give you an example. So let's say, for example, there are 2 hotels now. You are flying into Abuja somewhere. You are going to Abuja somewhere with your wife, and you saw 2 hotels. The first hotel says 50,000 naira a night. The second hotel say is 65,000 naira a night. However, we'll pick you up from the airport, and we'll serve you hot cup of coffee every morning. And on your way back to Lagos, our hotel cabby will take you to the airport. Which one will you take? Which one will you take? The person asked me the question. Can you answer? Which one will you take? Which one will you take?
The one that has the facility.
Awesome. The one that has the facility. Okay. Why? They're not changing price, though. Abi?
Yeah, there is no change in price. But the other one is 65. Why the other one is 60?
Good, but you got more value from the number.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I want you to start thinking that way. What can I give to these people? You may not get the answer now, but if you keep asking, you get, and don't ask it alone. Work with your staff. Sometimes you want to do everything by yourself. That's why it's a challenge. Some of the answers you are looking for is inside that your staff. So that's why there's power in asking questions. Throw them a kind of question like this, like, let me ask all of you, like on a Monday morning, say, let me ask you the question. If now they run this business now and this matter diagram, how are we to solve this problem? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Out of the mouth of multitude, you can get so much wisdom. So believe in them. Believe in them. They can come up with some solutions. Ask them questions. After all, you are paying them. So they have brain. They have wisdom. Tap into that wisdom. And some of the biggest ideas in some big companies, they will tell you it came from their staff. Ask Access Bank now. Some of the big ideas of Access Bank, it came from people that work from Access Bank, not from the MD. True of us, Access Bank people. It's not true. It came from people that work in Access Bank. Answer me in Access Bank, not from the MD. It's from people. The idea is in the people. Access Bank, don't answer me. True of us. So talk to your people. They have the answer. They have the answer. Don't be too, say, Asabi person. No way. There's something they know that you don't know. There's something they know. They will free you. My staff, they free me. Right now, I'm speaking here. We are doing something in other companies as we are speaking right now. But I'm here. My staff have freed me. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
So we're taking the last verbal question now from John Osas.
Okay.
John Osas, your mic has been enabled so you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Actually, my question is very, very simple, a simple question, but it's also related to what the last person asked, and the answer was very quite interesting. Actually, I would prefer to go for someone who has the facilities, who has other values,
Yes.
like taking the vehicle from
awesome.
You know, from airport to the hotel, and you can also see that a cup of tea will also be attached to it.
Awesome.
Now, because if you also look at it, actually, if you look at the situation on ground today, everybody wants to be secure. Nobody is ready to be vulnerable to insecurity these days. And you better really spend the money, like as they say, any wise pound foolish. So you need to really go for the best in order to save your time and also be secure your life and all that. Now, this is my question. Please, this goes to, I don't know who is in charge now, but is it not possible? Is it possible to, you know, like now, you cannot see me, but I can only see the speakers. Is it possible to, you know, to mute the other attendants like me, like as I'm talking now, so that you can see me? Is it possible to connect us?
No, I think you can put on your camera, sir. Just put on your camera on the Zoom. Yes. Just put on your camera.
Okay, sir, I'll do that.
There's a place of camera. Yeah, once you tap that in, you will see people and people will see you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. You've answered my question, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, Mr. John, can you imagine if you teach,
sir?
Mr. John, can you imagine if you teach your wholesalers or resellers small tips like this? You know, you've added value to their business.
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine how you feel now? If you not do the same thing, you are very happy. That's the same thing. They will buy from you. Thank you.
You are right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm very grateful to be here.
And we still have some questions, Mr. Fo, if you don't mind, I would like to ask. So someone is asking, they are really interested about the 3 C's you spoke about.
Talk to God. Okay.
So they want you to expand a little bit on that.
Okay, accelerated change. The change that we're living in is accelerated. Think about it. We are having this class on Zoom. I'm not seeing you. Ordinarily, I would have flown to wherever you are to have this training, but I'm doing it here on Zoom. That is accelerated change. Because the change is accelerated. All right? Now, technology accelerates that change. COVID has accelerated the change. Your children went to school on Zoom during the pandemic, all right? Accelerated change. Overwhelming complexity. So many things are complex. Even in Nigeria is a complex place to do business. It's overwhelmingly complex. All right, these are the changes, but you need to adapt. And tremendous competition. There is no business in this country right now that does not have intense competition. Even as Access Bank, they have competitors. Not only bankers, there are other things, the digital things that are competing with Access Bank customers. But you see, they are evolving. You see, they're always changing. They're always thinking 5 steps ahead of the competition. Whatever, that's how it is. Let me give you an example. I don't know whether you will get it, but at least let me just share it. There is a company, it's a social media company called Clubhouse. It's like Facebook, but this one use only voice. They started just a few months ago. Do you know that as I speak right now, Facebook is starting their own Clubhouse? Instagram is starting their own Clubhouse. Spotify just started their own Clubhouse. So your competitors are not waiting for you. They will copy you. That's why you need to move fast. Someone was asking for the book. I think should I put a link where I'll send the book to all of you by tomorrow? You put your email addresses there. Access Bank, how do you want it? Should I send the book to you people, Access Bank?
We expect the link from you. So when we're sending the video to all the
awesome. So you send it to them. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Makes sense. So thank you very much. Yeah.
So there's a question here.
Yeah.
Adoronke would like to ask her question. Please, Adoronke, your mic has been enabled so you can unmute and ask your question. Adoronke Ekundayo. Okay, so it seems we cannot reach, Adoronke cannot dial in. There's a question here. Say, I deal in cement.
I can't hear you, Foma. Can you take it again?
Hello, are you with me?
Okay,
Adoronke, go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said one of the things I wanted to ask before, you've answered one of them. Like I wanted you to explain better on the overwhelming complexity. Overwhelming complexity. I would like you to explain further more on this.
What do you deal on? What do you deal on? I don't care.
I'm a pizza distributor.
You're a pizza distributor. Okay. 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 Good.
Product, yes.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So do you want me to answer that? Go ahead. Yeah.
The number 2 question I wanted to ask is about is it good to always using promotion items to promote sales? Be good. That always, every time your product always depends on promotion before you can make.
No, it's not good. The answer is plain blank. You cannot have only one way to promote sales. And if you do that, your customers will only be dependent on that. They will be waiting for any time you are doing promo. No, you must have other ways to stimulate sales. Other ways to stimulate sales. And some of these things we think that we've spoken about, today.
Okay. So please, can you explain further more on overwhelming complexity, please?
Now look at the thing. Do you believe we live in a complex Nigeria?
Yes, I do.
It's complex, but we have to find, I tell you, if you focus on the problem, you won't come out of your house. It's complex. You wake up today, they say there's ban this one. You wake up tomorrow, they say you can't do this. They wake up tomorrow, they say it's changes, overwhelming. It can be overwhelming to you. The road to the market where your resellers are is so bad. Is that not a complex situation?
Yeah, it's
good, but does that stop you from doing business?
No.
And then, have you realized that in the midst of what we call a challenge in Nigeria, people are getting richer and richer, legitimately?
Yes, I do.
As in seriously, as in 10xing their business. The problem is the environment is playing a role, but don't allow it to stop you. Don't allow it to become a determining factor. Let me give you an example. I did a sales training for a law firm in London. Let me say it again, in London. Do you know how they found me? Do you know how they found me? They found me from Instagram.
Okay.
Yes, and they paid me in pounds. In pounds, madam. Because I'm not allowing what's happening here to stop me. I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking wider. So it's complex. So because I cannot go to office and knock down and say, give me sales training. So I said, okay, let me use my phone. Your phone is power. So I shoot a video on my phone. I send it on Instagram. I do it every single day, including this morning. I've sent a WhatsApp broadcast this morning. I've done that every day. I have a paid WhatsApp group where I teach people how to sell. I send them messages every day. I've done that for over 200 days. That is how you overcome the complexities of businesses. As I am, I'm a multinational. Yes, because I have clients in London, in Paris. Yes, from this phone. So you can use it. Don't allow Nigeria stop you. Don't allow the challenges stop you. Let it make you stronger. Let it make you bolder. Let it make you wiser. Let it make you find a way until God heals our land completely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aderonke. So we'll be taking, there's a question from Ayara Indifreke, referring to what you said about reskilling the workforce. She's asking, what will you do when you have a workforce with a traditional sales method and a spirit unwilling to change, though their method still brings in the sales, but does not take the business beyond the usual or average level? Did you get that?
Yes, I got it. Come up with a stronger argument. Tell them that, look, this way that we are doing it is giving us XYZ Naira every month. But look at it. If you try this other way, we can double it. Come up with a superior argument. You can't force them. Even you that's asking me this question, you are also set in your ways in some areas of your life. There are people that are telling you to change in certain areas and you have not changed. So change is not easy. You need to make them see. Sometimes people don't change until they see that the consequence or the problem of not changing is greater than the problem of changing. When people see that way, they will change. Help them see. When a man or a woman sees, they change. Help them see. And that's your job as a leader. You communicate that change.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul, for that answer. So we're asking the last question for this segment, although if you have other questions, we'll be accommodating them after the second speaker comes on. The last question, I deal in cement, but the challenge is coming from producers that keeps favoring the big buyers. How can I grow this kind of business?
I deal with cement and the challenge comes from producers that keep favoring the big buyer. So the challenge is that the big buyers are taking a lot of your market share. Good. So you use what they call guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing is you want to ask yourself, where are these big buyers weak? Where are they weak? It's in their weakness that you come in. If you know that they are taking a lot of your share, then your current customers, you want to give them a fantastic service. You want to stay closer to them. You may even want to have like a referral plan. Tell your current customer, say, you know what, if you refer anybody to me on your next purchase, you get this. Just come up with something crazy. Come up with something idealistic, and that will help you in your business. There is no challenge that can, please, I want you guys to never forget these words. Everything is figure outable. You can figure it out. Everything is figure outable. I tell my children this every time. Anytime they say, Dad, this is tough, I say, it's not rocket science. Someone has done it before. You can figure it out. And with that, I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. God bless you. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paul, for it was indeed an inspiring, entertaining, and educative session, as always with you. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence on this call today. So right now, we'll be moving to the second segment, the segment that talks about tax. We do business in Nigeria, and as far as we do business in Nigeria, we have to pay tax. So what are the issues surrounding tax? We have a best-in-class expert who will be taking us on the tax management section. Allow me to introduce Mr. Adesina Fatai. Adesina Fatai Adeboyega is a graduate of accountancy, chartered accountant since May 2011. He went into professional practice in October 2012. He's an associate partner with Olariwaju Wahab & Co. He founded Pro Rata Consulting as the MD CEO in 2014 and carries an accounting service tax advisory and training practice. In 2015, he was appointed as one of the few tax monitoring agents, TAMA, for the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. He also possesses the following: Alumnus Enterprise Development Center, Lagos Business School 2009, Alumnus UNICAF, Executive Education on Project Management 2019, Fellow, Institute of Management Consultants 2019, Alumnus Cambridge George Business School, Executive Education 2021 in view. He is a business advisor, loves reading and traveling. He is married with children. Hello, Mr. Additional. Happy to have you here today.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you. I will appreciate if my video is activated. Thank you very much. I would like to start by appreciating Access Bank for this wonderful, very progressive initiative. It's a very laudable one, and if this is sustained, I want to believe it's a way to go to support our business and economy. That said, I'll go into today's presentation, which is understanding. Thank you very much. I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, please hold on a minute. I need to share a bit of information. So I understand that some questions have been unanswered concerning the sales section. So if you still have questions, whether bordering on what Mr. Paul spoke about or personal challenges on sales that you have, please stick on after Mr. Additional is done with his presentation. We'll also be taking questions. Mr. Paul will be available to answer all questions concerning sales after this segment that we're on. Thank you very much. You can go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. The topic for today is understanding tax, a trader business entity approach. In today's session, I want to believe that our teaming distributor will go away with tidbits, with sound bites, with knowledge that would help them refocus their businesses and align with what the law says, as to come out of the burden and whatever may be the challenges they'll be facing, talking about tax matter in Nigeria, both at state level and at federal level. Let me start by saying that nobody pays tax smiling. Nobody is a very big tax and smile. They feel, why am I even paying this money? I understand. We understand. Everybody feels that way. But there are basic reasons to consider to want to align with paying tax and also even derive benefits from paying it. Before now, you may have been thinking, oh, tax is a punishment, tax is evil. No, it may not be altogether true. Even though we may have our own systemic problems, but people still derive benefits from complying and from paying the right taxes and paying on time. I look at the personal benefits that are accruable to paying tax. You look at loan approval. Have you ever applied to a bank and then they ask you, where is your personal tax clearance? Where is your company tax clearance? And you don't have the requisite documentation to apply for that loan, and you need that loan to further your business. If you are not doing that, you may have hampered the business by not complying with tax payment. Now, bidding for both government and private contracts and projects, I've seen people who have been contacted on a platter of goods to say, oh, you are my ally, you are my associate. Can you construct or can you deliver this supply to Lagos State Ministry, but we will need your tax clearance, both your personal and your company tax clearance. And that would fetch that person millions. But because that person was not complying with tax remittances and the timing, he couldn't bid, and hence loss of revenue. We look at property acquisition and development. Do you know that if you want to develop property in Lagos, for example, after they must have cleared you as physical planning, you would Also be referred to the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. Your file will be taken there where your income and your property will be assessed, and then they will charge you to tax if you've been paying less. Imagine what you have to go through if you have not been complying. And then for visa application, you are applying for visa, US, Canada, and some European countries who ask for your tax clearance. So income proof. Now, I used to hear this, people used to joke about it, that is Dangote or $10 actually the richest man in Nigeria. There are some people that are rich, but because they don't document, they don't pay taxes, they don't keep official record, even Forbes or any of these rating agencies cannot reckon with them. So is your income proof, is a proof to show your worth and where you really are. And finally, on that bit, is a sense, it will give you a sense of involvement in running the economy, in running the government. You know, you have paid your dues. If you pass on that rail line, if you go on that express road, if there is stable electricity, you know that, oh, I paid my due. That's why the country is working. Now, moving to the public benefits, yes, we all know that. Welfare, public infrastructures, government operations, law enforcement, they need to run the police, the army, the school, the hospitals. So it's a way of moving the country forward. So I move to the next one. If you see this image now, this image that you are seeing here now.
Mr. Additional.
Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Would you mind increasing the volume? The listeners are saying it's not quite audible. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
And also put the presentation on slideshow so it looks better.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Just a minute. I'm louding the volume. So thank you. I think there's an issue with the slideshow. If you permit me, I'll just continue. Now, Albert Einstein said the hardest thing to understand in the world is income tax. This is the most brilliant man in the world. So if Albert Einstein can have issue with tax, you are not alone. Tax is a perception thing. It is about what you believe. It is about, if you feel it's a problem, it may come as a problem. If you think it is not really a problem, you also have it that way. You know, you cannot drive your car without a vehicle license. You cannot travel without an international passport. So once you know that this thing is, that's why in the definition of tax, it is called a compulsory levy. And note that tax is also is ironic. For example, it is the only thing that you are fined for doing good. That is, when you have income, when you have profits, you are fined for doing good. But you are actually fined when you do wrong. But it's the only thing you do good that they also fine you. But it's a good thing that at least you are part of the people that are making the money, having the income. Now, in managing your tax burden, you need to do all these things I've highlighted below. You need to register the company that you can support. So people don't have any business with registering limited liability company. You don't have any business register because the challenges of running a limited liability company, you need to have an audited account, you need to have an auditor, you need to file with FIRS, and your business is semi-formal. You don't have all those structures. You don't have all those structures to support. So what that means is that it will become a challenge. So you need to look at yourself and say, okay, I will just register an enterprise and run it from there. 2, do not mix your person with your business, especially your finance. I say this to clients every time. Traders, especially people in the distributor market and chain, they mix personal finance with business. They just withdraw money from the business and then pay for some business expenses. You may be shortchanging yourself. You need to have a clear record. You need to keep all the proper books of account. even when you do that, the authorities will suspect you. You give it to them back to back. You just give it to them like that. So once the authorities see that you are complying, imagine when the police stops you now. Once you have your driver's license, you have your vehicle license, you have everything, you have your insurance, they calm down. They know that you are obeying the law. 3, register your company with all the relevant authorities, FRS, LRS, the state where you are, register with the state authority, register for TIN, register for VAT, because in law, when you conceal information, it is seen as evasion. They see that you are deliberately undermining. Now, the next is that you engage services of professionals. Professionals are very important. You engage their services, accountants, auditors, lawyers, tax consultants, because when these challenges come, you cannot defend it. It's just like you trying to treat yourself. When you fall sick, you go to the hospital, you go to the lab to diagnose yourself, to do the scan. Now, when tax problems arises, or before it arises, you need to have all these people on ground that you can call upon at a small fee. What would the auditor collect as against what the authorities will always bring to you? And then you keep proper books of account. Now, I've always told distributors and traders that revenue is not profit. Now, when you are making those revenue, ensure that you record all your expenses and all your costs, and you take it off. Now, when the authorities come and they notice that they are just seeing revenue, they can't see record of your expense, they will take the whole revenue as profit and tax it. So most of the time, my distributors, we are the one shortchanging ourselves. You understand? By not keeping proper record, by not having periodic audit, then note your deadlines. All these taxes, payee, withholding taxes, VAT, CIT, annual filing, they have dates. And once you violate those dates, they begin to fine every day. We don't want authorities to fine you. That is why tax consultants like myself, like my firm, and other numerous practitioners in the industry will always be there to note all these deadlines and all these timelines. Now, notify the authorities in event of change of location, and then for expatriate companies, please file your returns with immigration. The authorities want to know the number of immigration you have on a monthly basis and on an annual basis. File your monthly return, file your annual return, and try to know the deemed income that is applicable to your country. Every continent, American, European, Asian, African, have their deemed income for expatriates. Don't let the authority use arbitrary or best of judgment income to assess you. All these are information you get when you have a professional working with you and somebody who knows the law. Now, avoid tax evasion. What is tax evasion? When you deliberately fail to keep record, when you deliberately falsify record, you made 1 million, you are declaring 500,000. It is an offense under the law. Please declare what you make. There are loopholes, there are advantages. Advantages are many where you can pay less taxes. You just need the right knowledge and right information. Now, tax avoidance is when you use those loopholes in the law to take advantage and pay less taxes. Now, looking at this next slide, you see how company income taxes are computed. And for CEOs, for owners of business that are in this webinar, I want you to know this page. Because sometimes what your accountant is doing, what your tax consultant is doing, what your auditor is doing, you don't know. But at least you can interpret this, say, okay, this is my turnover. Okay, this is my direct cost. Okay, I'm selling with, I'm a distributor with PZ. I bought this shipment for 100 million. Now, my direct cost inside it is 80 million. I paid wages, people that offload, people that follow the truck, and all those things. I paid 2 million. Now I made 82 million. Now my profit, my gross profit is 18 million. Okay, I paid salary, I paid professional fees like auditors, like our accountants, like our lawyer. Then I charge depreciation, then other operating expenses, everything comes to 11.6. Okay, I now have all my expenses 16.4. The law allows you to remove your expenses from your gross profit. Now what you have left is 6.4. Now, in adjusting for your to know what you pay finally, this is not what the government will tax. Now, they will add back depreciation because they don't allow it under the law, but they will allow you to have capital allowance on your assets, which is an allowance. So they will let you deduct it. So you now have 6,350,000 to pay as tax. So what that means is that this is the summary of what you are paying to government. Every business owner in this webinar should be able to interpret its book of account so that you yourself can know, oh, before adjustment of profit, this is what my tax is. Now, by the time they adjusted this, this is what the taxable profit will be. And then you just pay, 30% of this 6.3 million and the other one. Now, going to your personal income tax, that is where I faced a lot of challenges during my tax monitoring period, which I still do. Most of the traders don't know where to take advantage of. You need to take advantage. Now, the law allows you to have your income and they relieve you. They give you fixed allowance, they give you variable allowance, as you can see on the screen. Now, this is what is taxable and this is the tax table. Now, the tax due on this one is 350. But like I noted in the note below, I said you can pay less if you are contributing, you as a business owner. This is how to reduce your liability. You can use a big chunk of your income into statutory payments, like health insurance, like pension, like life insurance, like contributing to National Housing Fund. Now, if you contribute to all these things on a monthly basis, even if the salary was heavy, it will reduce somehow, and then it will reduce your tax burden. Now, how many of you know, I noticed most distributors and traders, the salary of how much will you pay sales girl? Maybe 20,000 per month. If you multiply that by 12, it's just 240. Now, the law as from 2011 allows that any income that is less than 300,000 per annum will only be subjected to 1% tax. Why we not go pay this one? Why won't we pay 1% of 300,000? That's 3,000 naira per annum. That's not a burden. It's not a burden at all. 1%, and it's even the staff that will pay. So for the whole year, the person that is earning below 300, and I know because I related very well with your industry, sales girls and the people that are used to monitor business don't earn more than most times 25,000, 20,000. Because why is that? Not that because you don't pay salary, it's because there are so many. Some of the audience here have about 20 outlets. So you just pay, what can, and they are always young people that are teenagers. So they can only earn between 20 to 25,000. What you are paying to them is just 1%. That's what government owes you. So because of we don't have all this information, we think tax is that big. It's not. For somebody that have like 100 staffs now that earn less than 300,000, that's how much per annum. At the end of the day, it's not going to dig deep into your income. Now, with the Finance Act, government is also magnanimous, because they are listening now. With the coming of COVID-19, government have said, okay, let's review the tax law, due to the Finance Act of 2019 and 2020 as amended. If your business, if you're in this webinar, write this down. If your turnover is less than 25 million in a year, please, you are not going to pay any tax to government. You are not paying any CIT. You only pay personal income tax to state. Now, if your income is between 25 million and 100 million, you are going to just pay 20%. Now, if you are earning above 100 million, if your turnover is above 100 million, that's when you pay 30% and then the 2% education tax. But if you are below those rates, you pay it in that order. Now, on the last note here now, I want you to note your penalties and your deadlines. First and foremost, your due date is very important. 10th of every following month, that's when you pay, you remit the pay that you have taken from your staff. Then annually you file all what you have paid that year. Then if you fail to do that, yeah, it's fine. We don't want to pay fine or imprisonment. Then for companies that fail to fine 500,000, In this COVID economy, where do we have that kind of money? So you are not expected or supposed to be paying fine. Most of the people that have challenges is because of poor planning from the beginning. Now, if tax consultants come on board, we will dissect the problem, and they are human beings. Let me share a personal experience. I took on a client in 2015. They've been battling this tax problem for about 5 years. In fact, 2012 being the last audit year, and they have liability of 127 million. Now, we took that matter up. We started relating with LIRS. And at the end of the day, just after 1.5 years, it takes time, sometimes, but the result will come because they know they are talking to the people who knows the law and what the law says about us and know all the finance implications. We reduced that liability to 21 million. This company was in oil and gas services. So they are human beings. They want the taxpayer to be reasonable. Once you are reasonable, once you are cooperating with them in terms of coming for meetings when invited, giving them all the proper books of account, doing all this filing. And the reason for this filing is that so that they can monitor you, so that at the end of the day, you can't just start lying. They know that, oh, this person has always cooperated with us. So even if you ask for time, if you ask for extension, if you ask for waiver, they will listen to you. They are human beings. But the moment they notice that we are trying to evade, that's where the problems comes in. So I want to believe that these people, the authorities, they are there to also work with us. As a business owner, I challenge all of us here. How many of us knows the tax station that they report to, talking about state internal revenue, because there are tax stations spread around? If you operate in Mushi, you should know that, oh, the tax station controlling Mushi is so place. If you operate in Lagos Island, you should know the tax station controlling Lagos Island is in so place. Like that, and for FRS too, and even possibly no officers that you can pick up your phone and call them when something is not clear. So they are human being. Tax is a social product. Nobody will bring out cane or harass, unnecessarily. Once you are attending to them, you are asking the right question, you are notifying them, you change your address, you notify them, you add more staff, you let them know. All those little corporations here and there, even when the business is tough, they will understand with you, like, oh, this person is asking for some time, is asking for some waiver, is asking, oh, this penalty you wanted to make, this is what happened. They will understand. So it's only when you are seen to be running away from it, to not be keeping proper books, to not be employing the right personnel to help you keep the records. And I also want to add this on the last note. Now, don't be penny wise, sounds foolish. Most of us that are having tax challenges will say, oh, they brought 10 million to me. Now, how much do we need to employ an accountant? How much? How much do we need to employ an accountant? If we have a smart accounting graduate, he can do some of these things I said almost perfectly. We just need the consultant to monitor him. You employ an accountant or a chartered accountant with average of 200,000, 250,000. Annually, how much is that? 3 million. Now, for somebody that will work all year, let's do the maths. He will do your accounting, he will keep your record, he will attend to these tax people. It's going to take 3 million, for example. Now, government is bringing arbitrarily, for example, 20 million to you. And this person, due to his employment in your company, is able to help you keep all this and tidy all this, and that they are able to reduce those 20 million to maybe 4 million or 3 million. That's a savings to us. So let us employ the right people, let us compensate at the right level, and then it will become a savings at the end of the day, and you will not worry. So that's why we are there. That's why professionals are there. That's why Access Bank has put this platform down to make sure that you as their client, as their customer, don't have tax problems. Even if you have tax problem, we are on ground to help you resolve, at a little fee, and then at consultancy level to advise, to monitor, and to resolve old problems and see how you now move forward and you operate on the clean slate. Thank you very much. Our contact has been displayed here on the screen. You can reach us for that. But Access Bank has been so magnanimous that right here we will take live issues. You can start sending it now. We'll look at it. We'll help you see how we can provide advice and solution to it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Additional. I'm sure everybody must have gained something or the other from the presentation which you just gave. So if you're still here, if you listened to Mr. Porfo's presentation and now Mr. Additional's presentation, you could just probably use the clap emojis, send us the clap emojis to know that you're still with us while we wait to take questions for Mr. Additional. Can we see some clap emojis? If you're still here, clap emojis, please. So we'll be taking questions now for Mr. Additional. Honor Iola, your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute your mic to ask your question. Honor Iola.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. No, we really do appreciate you for coming to share such information with us. This has been a major challenge for business owners like myself. My question is, as a business venture owner, as a venture owner, what percentage of tax am I supposed to pay?
Okay, it depends on your turnover and on your level of expenses. State or your state where you are, your own personal income tax. That is, it is expected that as a owner, you pay yourself salary or you pay yourself some allowances. So that will be taxed by the state authorities. But for your company, you'll be remitting those to Lagos, to Federal Inland Revenue Service. But if your company limited as an individual profit, so it will be due to the state government where you are residing. But the rate we cannot say until probably we have further information on your income, on your level of expenses, on your assets, on other factors that and on your level of contribution to all those statutory contributions. So probably if you after the event, if you chat up, we can look at generally what should have been due to you. But let me ask you, do you think you've been overcharged in the past?
No, not at all, sir. But my major concern, actually, I've defaulted sometimes. My major challenge is as a redistribution, because we redistribute. So the company we have been taxed by the company. So am I supposed to pay tax on the same goods? Or is just on the income or the income the company makes?
You mean the product is a VAT product?
Yes, sir.
They have charged VAT on it. Yes,
yes,
VAT
sir.
is an item of tax on its own. So company income tax, you as a company or as an individual, you are another entity on your own. So that is on the product. But the tax is on the profit that you make. The tax is on the profit that you make from that redistribution exercise. So the fact that the company has paid VAT on the product or something, or has charged VAT on it, doesn't mean when you make profit on it, you will not pay. There are different levels of taxes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We'll get in contact with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We'll take question from Joseph Faletti right now. So Joseph, your mic has been enabled. You can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. additional Fatai for the lectures. Is very interesting. You have dealt with so many things as relate to tax and business as a whole. But my concern is you not really speak on distribution as a sector, because I think even the tax authority have not really recognized distribution as a line of business, because we know of manufacturing, we know of service-oriented, oil and gas, banking, insurance. Distribution is becoming big and large on a regular basis. But the tax authority, I think, are not still understanding the workability of distribution businesses. The reason why I said is this. You mentioned something about revenue as should not be seen as profit. But sometimes when the tax authority comes and they want to assess you based on base of judgment, and they take your revenue to be your profit. And because the distribution business is a low margin business. Meanwhile, a distributor is an agent of a manufacturer. A distributor does not sell the price he wishes to sell. The manufacturer will tell you that this is the price of this product. I want you to sell, this is the price, is 10 naira. I want you to sell with 10% margin, which is, you are now going to sell at 11 naira. From this 11 naira that is yours, you are supposed to give wholesaler 5% discount. You will give retailer 3% discount. At the end of the day, what comes to the wholesaler is just maybe 2%. And that 2%, you find it difficult to explain to the tax authority that the margin you are seeing, we made a revenue of 1 billion, whereas the profit of the distributor at the end of the day is infinitesimal. It's something of maybe 1 million and the rest of that. That is, my question is, how do we get the tax authority, Nigeria tax system, to recognize distribution as a sector or as a section of the business that should be treated as such, but not merging with somebody in trade? A distributor is not a trader. A distributor is an agent of a manufacturer that is answerable to manufacturer and does whatever the manufacturer asks him to do. Sir, help us to address that. And secondly, let me also talk to the banks. It is also, I've noted that the banks and lenders also don't understand distribution peculiarity. The reason why I said is this: if you want to get a loan or something from a lender, a lender will look at your revenue. Your revenue is 1 billion, for instance. And after you take your operating expenses, you take your distribution cost, you take your finance cost, at the end of the day, your profit before tax is now very small. And the lender will start looking at it. How can you make 1 billion as a revenue and your net profit before tax is as low as this? You will not try to calculate that this is less than 1%. So we should be able to educate people about the peculiarity of distribution business. Is a section of the business that has its own uniqueness, but it has not been understood by the tax authority, even the banks, that you don't consider revenue to judge profit, because a distribution business is a low profit margin business, and we should address it as that. So that's my point. And thirdly, sir, you did not talk about the current issue where the Finance Act states that any employee whose salary is 30,000 naira and below should not pay tax at all. I think that was implemented February this year or January this year, that any employee whose salary is 30,000 naira per month or below should not pay minimum tax at all. So that is my point, and I hope you are able to address that so that we can get more clarity and our business owners should grow from this level to a higher level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was voluminous, but I would do justice to it, God willing. Now, your questions are in threefold. The first is that distribution as a concept is misunderstood by the authorities and by the players in the industry alike. Now, for now, distribution doesn't have any special classification. For now, it is seen as trading. If you go to Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, if you go to even FRS, they will classify it as trading business. Now, the second thing you also noted was that the manufacturers regulate what you can make.
Yes.
Which is, they will just say, okay, you can only sell at 10% margin, and you have to give discount to the wholesaler. Yes. And then finally, the other two things you mentioned. You mentioned best. Now, best of judgment will not arise if the level of compliance of the taxpayer is top-notch. Best of judgment arises when the authorities doesn't have tools and information to rely on. So they will just look at your revenue or look at a cross-section of the industry and say, oh, okay, if your colleague is making this much and paying this, you should pay this. But it's a result of neglect or of not cooperating with the authorities from the beginning. Now, before, we used to have minimum tax, company income tax now. With the coming of Finance Act 2020, they have regulated that to just 0.25% of turnover. So we have noted, let us, if you, the sector, can sponsor professionals and lobby. I know somebody fought that minimum tax part, which was so crazy before, but now it's just a very small rate and that is flat, not a higher of way of B, all those technicalities. It's very direct. So let's see in future how financial institutions like Access Bank, professionals, professional bodies can push to the National Assembly that, oh, distribution has become something very, very massive in this country that we have to recognize through. We have a special concession. The Act of 2020 exempted anybody doing agribusiness from tax for the first 5 years and reduce the withholding tax by 2.5%. You are liable to 2.5% withholding on your services and products. So it's evolving. We'll get there. We'll get there, you know. But look at what the slide 7, you know, where I analyzed. This is your revenue. But you see immediately under, I spoke about direct costs. Your direct cost can be 99 million. Your direct cost can be 95 million. If the cost of buying the product from the manufacturer, the cost of deploying it, the cost of advertisement, because I know sometimes even you distributors, you do some advertisement and some sales promotion and some marketing, you know, FMCG. So I know you incur all those things, so you put it there. So it is this one, after all these expenses, it is the final bottom line, your net profit that the government can tax. When government come to your office and they pick your revenue, my brother, something was missing. Either you are not keeping good record of expenses, which I will encourage all of us to start keeping now. Because what the authorities do is that once they come, they don't have any reference point, they resort to only revenue, because that's the only thing. You've not even done your audited account, but they can see your revenue from your bank statement. You know, FRS can actually access your bank. So nothing is hidden. It's now a e-society. There is a web portal where all your bank balances, FRS can see it in the office. So when they come and we are showing them, we are hiding one bank statement, they are just laughing. So they will see it. And once that's the only thing they have, they will tax it. So let us begin to keep proper records. Let us begin to also lobby government and professional bodies. It is doable. You have reported it now. Access Bank as the organizer is airing this. They also have their links. You know, they are very important company in the industry. They can sell it to FRS and to National Assembly to say, the distribution chain is a sector that you have to treat maybe like insurance or like mortgage industry now. You need to regulate the law that protects them and that guide them. They can't even make arbitrary profit. They don't even set their profit. So we need to be lenient on them. So somebody will push it and the house will pass it. We'll get there. And lastly, about the 30,000, any income below 30,000. Yes, it's true. It's true. It's an omission. From 2020, from this year, I think March or February, you are not liable to pay any tax if your salary is below 30,000 naira per month. But the law about the 300,000 was, promulgated in 2011, where any income below 300,000 is charged to 1%. But with the effect of the Finance Act, it was eradicated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that question and answer. Right now, we'll be taking Tombra. Tombra, your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute and ask your question. After which we would take, after Tombra would be taking Terra Incognita Farms and Allied Services. So Tombra, over to you. You can unmute your mic now to ask your question.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Please, I just want to, it's a nice lecture, actually. It's a great one. Thank you very much. I want to ask, my company name is limited and our tax is very high. Is there any way I can change it just to enterprises and remove the limited?
I think previously, they allow upgrade, especially from enterprise to limited. But I think with effect from about 2-3 years ago, CAC had stopped that, I think. Now, you cannot. But what you can do is that you can register a fresh company that is an enterprise. That is an enterprise. Or, I know that one thing you are not saying is that there is a lot of liability on that account right now. Am I correct?
Liability as in, I'm not getting you.
As in tax liability that is due on that name.
Yes, a lot of it.
Okay.
Like the last time I tried to pay it, the last time I tried to tidy up my tax, I have to pay CAC return, so many liability, just like you said, and it wasn't funny. So I'm just
now I during my presentation, I mentioned a company that had 127 million as liability for 3 years. And when we went to work, when we put ourselves to task, we were able to achieve 21 million for them. We saved over 100 million for that company. And then we got our 10% fee for saving them 100 million. You can guess what that comes to. Now, before taking that very serious decision, don't forget that most of your customers, most of your distributors know you by this name. Why don't you let an expert estray what the problem is, how much you defaulted? Probably it's you that have been discussing with them. It's just like going to court to defend yourself in front of the judge. You probably will get a lawyer. So why don't you let the tax consultant look at all your history, all your files, and say, oh, because sometimes, because you have defaulted, in law, or during war, your rights are not. So what that means is that to do everything or anything with your account because they've seen that, oh, a professional. So say our authorities, you are really cheating this woman. Is it because she did it late? Is it because she didn't do this? So even, for example, if one of the things that is affecting your liability is that you mixed personal finances with business. Somebody like us can look at your personal bank statement and say that even this woman was paying for things from her own personal account, which should have been on the company. So we show it to them, we evidence it to say, during that year that you are giving us also, she paid about 10 million from her personal account, which she failed to put on record for the company. So by the time they do the plus and minus, it can reasonably reduce what we're actually running away from. So So, but at the end of the day, when that is tidied, you can now wound up that company and probably use the name to reapply for an enterprise. But I always advocate that we should not run away from the problem. We should face it. Those people, they are human beings. They also give waiver. They also forgive penalties and all those charges and fines. Sometimes when you have shown cooperation, when you have submitted yourself, you know, when they see that you are not afraid, you are not running away from your responsibilities. So by the time you clean it up, then we can start on a fresh slate, probably using that name to start an enterprise or something. But as an emergency effort or choice is to quickly register an enterprise and be running with that. In the interim, yeah. But let an expert, I will be interested in seeing what the challenge was and then see how good the case is.
Okay, maybe I would like to get your contact.
My contact is displayed right here. It's displayed on the screen, as you can see.
Okay.
So you can copy them all and just send me a mail or WhatsApp me.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tombra. We'll be taking Terra Farms now. Terra Farms, your mic has been enabled, so you can ask your question. Tombra, Terra Farms. Yes.
Hello, Jan.
Please go ahead. Terra Farms, are you there? All right, while we wait for Terra Farms to get the network sorted, there's a question here. Please, what is the next?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My special appreciation to Access Bank for organizing this laudable seminar on Zoom, and also I want to say a good job well done to Traditional. My question is this: as a farmer, a smallholder farmer, an enterprise, what should be the conclusion on tax matter when at the end of a financial year the farm has only been able to break even? Is on a break-even point. What I mean is that no profit was made. The running capital spent on production for that financial year was what was just barely recovered, and there is no profit. What should be the conclusion on tax matter?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, you are an enterprise. So what that means is that your tax is not due to Federal Inland Revenue Service. Your taxes are due to Lagos State or your state's Internal Revenue Service. For an enterprise, the enterprise profit is deemed as the owner's income, as the owner's profit. Now you have not made any loss, you have not made any profit. Okay. First and foremost, did you earn salary during the period? Did you earn salary during the period? Oh, okay. Now, if the answer is yes, you'll be liable to pay only payee. You only pay as you earn on the salary. Now, if you don't earn salary, if what you are hoping to earn is the profit from the farm exercise, and now you have broken even, no profit, no loss. Now, in that situation, you are not liable to pay tax. Tax is paid on profit. For individuals, tax is paid on income. But if during the year you earned income, you earned salary, you'll be liable to just pay government, pay as you earn salary, tax from your salary. But if you didn't earn salary, they'll probably also look at, did you earn allowances? Or did the company take care of some, did you have benefit in kind? Were you using the office, the farm's car or truck for personal use? The house you were staying, was it being paid for or being maintained by farm? All these are the things that will be looked at and will be subjected to tax. But because the company itself did not make profit, you are not necessarily going to pay any tax. However, the authorities are at liberty to visit your premises and ask for record and work it by themselves again to be sure that you actually did not make any profit, neither did you make loss. If they find it that it is right, you are good. Your tax liability for that year will be nil, but you'll be liable on the personal enjoyment that you have gotten on the business. The company paid for your trip, the company paid for anything personal. They are paying for your accommodation, they pay your children's school fees, you earn salary, all those will be factored, and then you'll be charged to your own personal income tax. But for the company, if it is reasonably established that you didn't make profit, then tax doesn't arise. And even for company income tax, if you didn't make profit, you only pay minimum tax, which is just a small percent of turnover. I personally have always questioned this minimum tax of a thing, my personal opinion, that somebody didn't make profit or somebody made loss, but the authority is asking him or the entity to pay minimum tax. But of course, I answered myself again that if the government allowed that once you didn't make profit or you make loss, you should not pay anything, everybody will be declaring loss. And then government will not have money to run its activity. So I think, I'm not speaking for government now, that is the reason why they coined that minimum tax thing. But what I feel the government should have done is to reasonably establish if that loss was true, was induced by maybe natural disaster or bad economy or bad business. If they can establish that truly this company or this person made this loss, I personally, on moral ground, or using morality now, I think that entity or person should have been let go, shouldn't have been subjected to minimum tax, at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that answer. Musa Ibrahim, your mic has been enabled. You can ask your question. Musa Ibrahim. Musa Ibrahim, can you hear me? Okay. While we wait for Musa Ibrahim, Kemsin GOP. Kemsin GOP, your mic has been enabled. You can ask your question now. Kemsin GOP Nigeria Limited. Unmute your mic to speak, please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good
Hi.
morning.
Hi, good morning, you are here.
How work?
Very well, very well.
Very well, thank you.
As you said, my question here is that when we buy a cement from the company, especially Dangote, we get it very difficult to transport it to our destination. So what kind of assist company can give us so that to ease us that very difficult transport abun da muke biya?
Okay, not a task question, but let me attempt. But I'm aware Dangote as a company has trucks that distribute cement.
Yes.
So why can't you just register with them and then they deliver your cement to you directly?
Hello?
Which location are you? Hello?
So there is problem of transport.
Hello?
Hello, yes, I know.
Hello.
But is Dangote truck in that your area, in your state? Do you know that Dangote as company have trucks that distribute cement to you distributors?
Hello, Mr. Traditional.
Yes,
Yes.
I know. But sometimes we get it difficult. We can book the goods and pay for it, but the transport will be difficult from the company. So we need assistance, if possible, from bank to give for us to have our own transport, if possible.
Okay. Hello, Kamsi. How are you? This is Veronica. Sir, how are you?
Fine.
Okay, so one of the value proposition and one of the things that we do for our distributors is infrastructure financing, which is vehicle financing, and we do it for all distributors. So immediately after this, one of the relationship team will engage you. It's something that the bank does, and we do it very well. So we can help acquire vehicle for this particular transaction. So it's something that we do, and we do it very well. Apart from giving you money to buy products, we also do that vehicle finance. So the relationship team will speak to you immediately after this. Is that okay, Musa?
Okay, yes.
What is your
Second
company?
thing.
What is
Yes,
your company name, Musa?
what is what?
Your company
Why
name.
Adam? Why Adam
Why
Transport and Service? Yes.
Okay. Where is the location?
There is network problem.
Which location
Funtua,
is?
Katsina State.
Okay, no problem. We'll get across to you on that, and we'll be able to support you. Is that okay, Musa? Hello, Musa.
Funtua bypass. Hello?
Musa, we'll get across to you. The relationship management team will get across to you to discuss how we can support you with respect to your question. So expect us to reach out to you. Thank you. Kemsin GOP Nigeria Limited, your mic has been enabled. You can go ahead to ask your question. Kemsin GOP. Okay.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
My question has been answered.
Okay, your question has been answered. Wonderful. We'll move on to Grace Makus Enterprises. Grace Makus Enterprises, your hand is raised. Your mic has been enabled. You can ask your question.
Yeah,
Grace
good
Makus.
morning, all.
Yes, good morning.
Okay, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Asalu. I'm a representative of Grace Makus Enterprises. I want to appreciate Access Bank for this wonderful Zoom meeting. I won't lie to you, I've learned a lot. I've joined the meeting since it started up till now. I don't feel like the meeting should come to an end. Thank you very much for that wonderful idea. Actually, I have one or two questions to ask. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Okay. The first one is this. I have noticed that the issue we always have when it comes to tax is because we don't keep proper records. That is the major issue. But I would like to ask if there's any way we can be provided with maybe a formatted a document that can help us in keeping these tax records very well, so that when you are being visited by tax authorities, you don't have any reason to panic. That is number one question. Then number two question is this. Somebody that has a company limited liability name that was registered before now, and due to one or two things, he is not making use of it again. What can that person do in order to, or in order to stop the authorities from taxing such company name? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have two questions. If we are facing challenges, we need to revisit our strategy. We cannot be doing things the same way and expect different results. What that means is that the essence of Access Bank putting this program on is for us to relook and rejig our processes and our system to say, okay, what have we been doing wrongly? What can we do right so that we won't always be in this quagmire and doldrum? Now, what that means is that from the tone, Grace Mekus, from the tone of your voice, I saw that you'd like to keep record, but I see that you are attempting to. In fact, we have not covered 10% of what taxation is. If we have to do this presentation, we can do like 5 or 4 to be able to cover virtually everything. Now, even a sitting accountant may struggle sometimes if there is volume, not to talk of a business person who is running the business, attending meetings, attending to banks, attending to distributors and manufacturers, attending to competition. Then you also attempting to keep your records and manage it yourself. It may be counterproductive. For a little fee, you can engage a consultant, an accountant that can come, you may not even staff the person, that can come in periodically, let's say twice a month, to monitor all your tax exposures and to advise you appropriately. Now, whatever you are paying that consultant will be a big savings at the end of the day. I've given instance where authorities are bringing 20 million, 10 million as liability to you. Meanwhile, you would have paid a professional for that year, it's max maybe $1 million or 500,000. But because we are attempting to do it by ourselves, we are exposed further. Yes, you can keep good books. You can try to manage and understand what your accountant is doing so that in case, for example, it's not available, you can also do it yourself. But of course, you need a guide, at least to set up the process and get it right. That is that. The second question was on moderator. Can you remind me?
The issue of, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can remind you, if you have a company name that you no longer do business with,
thank you.
Can you, what will you do?
Now, if you don't do business with that name, but authorities are still coming to you, authorities will not come to you if your status is showing active, dormant. I told you FRS have this web portal where they can see all the activities of every company. Now, once that activity is showing active, that is, they are seeing money in your bank. That means you are still operating. That is what authorities know. They can see your bank and they can see that money is going in and coming out. Now, once that account, those accounts, no matter how many they have, once they are dormant, once the accounts are dormant for between 6 months to 1 year, they will mark it dormant. So they know you are not operating, because there is no way you can be in business and not run your bank transaction for more than 1 year. So we need to answer that. Do you see how money going through the bank in the name of that company? Please answer me.
No.
If the answer is no, then you need to notify, do a board resolution to wind up the company and now write CAC officially to notify them that we are winding up this company and serve the same notice to your bank that we want to close this company, we don't want to run it again, so that they can close the account, and Corporate Affairs Commission will also know that you have stopped trading and doing business on that name. Until that is done, the authorities will still be coming after you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So,
Thank you very much, Grace. Yes, thank you very much, Grace Makus. I'd like to ask Mr. Additional, does your firm provide the service you spoke to earlier, the one about having a consultant to come to the business, maybe bi-monthly to check the books and stuff? I don't know. Some customers would want to know.
Yes, that is what they call tax advisory. It's part of our services. So if we come to the table and we discuss, we can have an arrangement where first and foremost, we can that will not be too expensive for you to maintain, so that the accountant will speak the language we understand. So we can come in and now monitor progress on what the accountant is doing as regards to tax compliance. Yes, that service is possible.
Next, we would call on Munazara Enterprises to ask your question. Your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute and speak. Munazara Enterprises. Are you there? Okay. While we wait for him, Ekwenechi Basil Chinedu, your mic has been enabled. You can ask your question. Please unmute. Ekwenechi Basil.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to join my voice with that of Musa concerning the issue of transport. I'm into distribution of cement, Lafarge cement. So we're finding it difficult to move our goods on time. For example, the goods I bought since April, some of it has not been supplied till now. Though production, but I know transport is also inclusive. So I don't know if, though you have answered him well, but I'm also asking for the same favor to be extended to our company. Thank you.
This has been noted. So a member of the relationship team will reach out to you to discuss this. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
What's the location?
What location are you at?
Okay, I'm in Ogbomosho, Oyo State.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
What's the company?
Hello, Madam Moderator. Hello, Moderator.
Yes, please.
Please, I want to interject. There is a certain question that has popped up, twice or more than twice on the chat trail. So I want to quickly respond to it. So participants want to know those services and products that are exempted from VAT, from value added tax. So I will just read it out. If you have your pen, you can note it. Now, we have all medical and pharmaceutical products. So if you deal in medical and pharmaceutical products, you are exempted from VAT. You don't charge and you don't collect. Now, basic food items. Anything basic food items, you know what basic food items are? Rice, gari, and all those food, you are exempted. Books and educational materials. If you are a dealer in books and educational materials, you are exempted from VAT. Now, baby products. If you are a distributor or you are in that chain, you are exempted from VAT. Fertilizers, like the man who called me that runs a farm. If you also deal in fertilizers, you don't charge VAT, you are not tax liable. I mean, VAT liable, you are exempted. Locally produced agricultural and veterinary medicine. If you are in that sector, you are exempted from VAT. Farming machinery and farming transportation. Now, biscuit is not basic food. By basic food, they mean raw food. That is rice, dairy, all those wheat, all those basic food that are not that processed. Now, farming and farming transportation equipment exempted from tax. All export. If you export any of the products that you are distributing, for example, you buy from PZ, you take it to Niger, you won't charge VAT and you won't be liable to VAT. Now, or they won't charge the company. Now, plant and machineries are good imported for use in the export processing zone. So if you import a machinery now for the purpose of producing goods that you will use for export, you are not VAT liable. Now, and the free trade zone. So any equipment or things that you produce or trade in the free trade zone, like Lekki free trade zone, like the Calabar free trade zone and all that, you'll be exempted from VAT. Now, this may not apply to most of us, but we need to note it. You may want to expand, you may want to go into agricultural equipment and farm implements. You may want to go into baby products. You may want to go into distributorship of baby products, so you know that at least you won't bother with VAT. That product is VAT exempt. So let us note. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Additional, for pointing that out. We'll take Aderonke Ekundayo. Aderonke Ekundayo. Your mic has been enabled. You can unmute to ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, you're on, please.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Please go ahead.
So much, Additional.
It's afternoon now. Good afternoon.
I
Yes.
love your contribution. I love all your training. I really enjoyed this so much.
Thank you very much.
Business products distributor at FMCG.
Okay.
Okay, I've been paying my tax. I've been doing everything. But there's one particular thing I want to ask. Now, you listed some products that are VAT exempted products. Yes. Our own product at FMCG is not exempted because we are dealing with soaps, detergents, creams, and co. That's what PZ does. Now, we are distributors. Our invoice have already has a VAT, a value-added tax inside, and the distributors are not allowed to add any VAT. But government said we should pay for our own VAT. How do we do this?
So that's double taxes, you know. So yes. Once you can show evidence, it happens to people who supply cement too. By the time they lift it from the factory to the distributor, it already, if you look at your invoice, you see a VAT. You cannot VAT a product twice. So once government asks that, just refer them to your original invoice that carries VAT from the company, which you have discharged appropriately. They will leave you. They will not bother you. You cannot charge VAT. You cannot charge VAT twice, yes.
But what I observe is always come up every year that we have to write letter and attach invoice before they can clear us. I think there should be a collation of the companies that have already VATed their product, that you don't VAT twice, instead of this thing coming up every year.
Yes, in this case, because you distributor are also key player, if you notify PZ, for example, or Nestle, they as a company, they are big enough, they are multinationals, to write FRS formally that this product already carries VAT, so the distributor will not charge VAT again. So naturally, if you are just one out of 1,000 distributors.
Yes.
But if PZ as a company, for example, notified FRS on their own letterhead and directly to FRS headquarters, it will carry more weight, and they would pass a circular, hopefully to their subunit offices that, when you are doing checks, just know that this company and these products have already suffered VAT from the factory. So that is the way. So you go through the company. The company has a bigger voice than you as a company. Yes.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that answer. We'll take Tad up next. Tad up, your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute to ask your question.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Okay. I really appreciate this forum, and I would like to thank all the moderators too. I think part of the questions I wanted to ask was what the what's it called, the lady before me just asked, and which is just about the VAT, the VAT, which the government still insists that we are supposed to be adding VAT to the goods that we supplied. And most times we also get clients that will tell you that, oh, give me an invoice, which should include my VAT. They don't want to pay extra. They don't want to add the 7.5%, but they want you to give them a price, the same price that you give others. And they want you to invoice it as being VAT added. And I told them no, that I can't do that. If I do an invoice for you, definitely I'm going to add the VAT to it. If you insist on me giving adding VAT to your invoice to show what's it called, maybe your auditors that you're also paying VAT to me. I'm not collecting VAT from you. I'm only giving you my direct price, which will include my whatever overage or what that I need to send to them. So, and with that, I think it's so far so good. I know my tax consultants are still working on. They are still working on my own tax and everything, because my company is a limited company, and there are just so many things. I have to start afresh. I think like 2 years ago, I got when my account was placed on lien. And the thing with the FRS is that they keep looking at the account. Fine, now I have records, but initially, just like the normal distributors where you just do, I'm into cement, where you just do all your business and you buy, you sell, there wasn't really much overage. There wasn't
no records. Yeah.
No record. It wasn't as if there was no records. But when you talk about records, you're going to talk about your revenue, you talk about your expenses and so on.
And your cost.
And your costs, But when you are like doing how much business, fine, it's a lot. Because one thing with cement is it's capital intensive. Because for somebody like me that do over 1 billion in a month, and somebody comes in and see my books and see my bank account and look at it as in, if you've done 1 billion, they'll just look at it and say, okay, this is what your VAT, this is what your tax should be. And I'm like, no, that is not like that. So because of that, since like 2-3 years ago, we started keeping our records and have all already everything. I have a chartered accountant that works for me, So, and but right now, what they were saying is that for my own tax, that I need to go and start from the onset of the business. That's when they need to start all my record from. I was able to, at least with my bank accounts and everything, I was still able to put in some records, which really is not really going to be accurate, because you're going to have some in and out, some expenses you spent that you didn't really remember, since you didn't really put those things together then. But somebody has done all my management accounts, and an auditor is also in to check all that. But the last time I went to FRS, the director then was telling me that no matter what, we should still be able to ask our clients to pay VAT. And I told them that's going to be double VAT, because there is no way Dangote have charged VAT and you, the director, are telling me that
you charge,
push it down. So it's really going to be so high, by the time you pass it down to clients and so on. So, but my point right now is that, okay, now I'm putting all my accounts together, but I'm thinking of opening another account that is going to be an enterprise. So what I want to know is that, can I still, my company name is Startup Global Services Limited, but can I do like Startup Enterprises?
That used to be available until it was stopped. So what that means is that you can't have the two names on the same CAC platform. So what you can do is that you can do a related name. As you have startup now, you can do something around that name. You can just add an acronym to it or something just to make it look similar. Then you move on. You can tweak around the name. First and foremost, let me congratulate you. You are the kind of entity FRS is looking for. If you do $1 billion, even in a year, if you do over $1 billion, your file will be somewhere with the last tax building at Ikoyi. So they know you are there. Yes. So you are, let me tell you how important you are to FRS. I remember during the last dispensation, I heard through grapevine that the chairman used to come to that building at least once in 2 weeks or once in a week for a meeting. Because if they make 4 trillion in Nigeria, that building alone is turning in maybe 2 trillion. So once you are doing that volume, you need to have all your documents. And I thank God you have a chartered accountant in your employee now. You need to get it right, because that's where the chunk of the revenue, that's where they are looking at it from. So there can't be any letdown. You have to be top notch. Your revenue shows that you can hire the best hands, you can hire the best consultant and all that. So they will be very furious, really, should they come and they find that things are not done properly. They will take it out on your books. So it's very good that you are paying attention now. About the VAT, we'll continue to educate them. And of course, in Nigeria, government is very powerful. So they know, but sometimes they feel if they allow you, other people too will claim that that product has suffered VAT from where they bought, so they are not, so they won't be able to track anybody down. That's why they too are adamant. So, but law is about evidence. Once we show them that I've already paid VAT on this thing, how will I prove VAT again? So they will let it go. But like I said, if you can, as a distributor, as an association, or as a body, approach them in a communique or in a memo that these things should be noted. We are tired of writing letters, of having meetings every year to address this matter. Once you come as a body or as a group, they listen, more, sometimes or most times. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, but now I also want to know what is now taxable in because by the time you remove the VAT, so what is what I needed to pay now is just the educational tax and the income tax. Am I right?
Yes, and the withholding taxes.
And withholding tax
from your contracts and supplies.
Okay. I used to have a client that we did the project for, and what's it called? Yes. They actually withhold some of our tax. They withhold but they didn't remit it, and we didn't get a credit note.
So when they didn't remit it, you can report them to the tax office covering their location. So if the company is in VI, for example, you report them to maybe Babish office or Adeoladeku tax office or the Ologolo tax office at Lekki here. So you write the office that my deduction is with social company and is not remitting and giving me the tax credit notes. Please follow up with them and make sure they do so. And then that letter you've written is an evidence when audit comes up that these people that didn't give me my tax credit notes after deducting, I wrote them or I wrote the authorities and they acknowledged the letter. So I'm fine. So once they see that, they know you play your part and you won't be held responsible for that.
Okay. No problem. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tadop. Thank you, Mr. Additional.
So somebody asked, moderator, please. Somebody asked on the trail. I just want to answer directly, if you permit me.
Please go ahead.
So the person is asking that I want to ask when rendering report to FRS during company reports account, should we report the MD of a limited liability company saving account with it? Now, these are part of the problem I mentioned, that people mix up personal finance with business finance. That's very wrong. So at this level, they won't even ask for your MD's savings account. All they want to see is the audited report, the financial statements. That's what FRS asks you to file and pay your undisputed, or what you call self-assessment liability. So it's when they come for audit or investigation that they begin to ask for this. But it would be better if you don't mix your MD's savings account with the company, unless if it's an enterprise. But if it's a limited liability company, the MD savings account doesn't have anything to do with the business. Open a corporate account for the business and run the business from that account. Pay salary from that account, pay for cost from that account, pay for expense from that account. In fact, I've always been an advocate of even not doing cash at all. Let all your transactions go through the bank. It pays you that way. If you spend cash, there may be tendency that you didn't write it down or you forgot to note it. You have dashed government money. You have just given, don't give away. But even if you buy a recharge card of 200 naira, if you buy it from the bank, it's your expense. It should be covered. So at the end of the day, you even know what you are making truly as profit. Some people are not really making profit. When you are making profit, you are paying transport from your personal account. You are making phone call from your personal account. You are not putting it on the business. You won't even know your true profit. You think you are making profit, but you are not. So let's not mix them this savings account with the business. Let the business run by itself. Let the authority see everything from the books. And don't let people take money through your account. Very important. Once any money passes through your account, the authority takes it that is for business. And they will query unless you can prove that this money is not for my business, it's my friend that actually sent it to me, and this is how I forwarded it to where he wants it to be used. But that will be after series. You can be on it for 6 months. So let's avoid all those back and forth. Thank you. Moderator, you can continue. Thank you.
All right, thank you for taking that question, Mr. Additional. Fulcrum, your mic has been enabled, so you can unmute to ask your question. Fulcrum.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
good afternoon. You're home.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Very
we
well.
can.
Yeah.
Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Access Bank, for this wonderful forum. Very good. Mr. Additional, thank you.
Thank you very much.
My question is on the issue of VAT.
Okay.
I started business over a decade ago, and I've been trying as much as I can to always do pertaining to tax. But my tax consultant told me that we need to be paying VAT, which I've been doing for the past 5 years. So I just want to ask, is it wrong for me to pay VAT? I know some of the goods I sell are already been VATed, but is of the opinion that VAT is a sales tax. So far the good falls under VATable goods, we need to pay my VAT, in which I've been doing. So am I doing something wrong? I just want to know, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Your tax consultant is just trying to avoid a lot of trouble. If you follow the discussion, you see that some people have gone to the extent of going to the office to have meetings, to do this and that. So at the end of the day, it will cost you a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of expenses in trying to prove your point. So that's why your tax consultant felt, okay, Shebi, you are paying VAT, but just you charge it on your invoice. Where the customer pays.
On my invoice, I'm paying from my profits. Because the kind of goods I sell, I cannot oversell, I cannot overprice. My price cannot be more than competitor's price. So it's as if I'm paying the VAT from the profits I'm making.
Okay, your consultant is just doing that for compliance sake. Like I said, you have to go to a long stretch to prove to the authorities that, oh, this product, is already vetted. You need to pardon me, you need to allow me, and it will waste a lot of time and energy. So your tax consultant just felt you'll be paying something. But what I will advocate for in that case is probably just for the sake of compliance, just be paying something.
But why should I be paying something when I'm not supposed to even pay at all? So that is why I'm confused.
Now.
And we don't have an organized forum for FMCG distributor to discuss things like this. I'm sure I'm not.
You were not supposed to pay. The product is vetted already. But the consultant may be thinking that in event of audit, you will still face the challenge of answering that question over and over again. But of course, you can, once you show evidence to the tax consultant to say this product is vetted already, there's no way I can charge VAT. What I even wanted to say is that you put VAT on it and let the customer pay, then you remit. But you said you can't do that. And that's that's a no-no. You shouldn't pay VAT from your profits. You rather tell the consultant to go and argue it out with the authorities that you don't pay because you don't charge it, because it's already charged and you have paid it to your supplier already. So there's no way you can charge it again. That would be that the product is suffering VAT twice. So you can ask him to go and argue it out. But like I told you, you are just one out of numerous salespeople. So the law doesn't want to treat one person in isolation. So maybe that's what some people try to avoid and just pay it. But really, how much profit are you making? Now that VAT has even been increased to 7.5%. So, I mean, that would be, how much is your margin that you pay 7.5%, though you were supposed to charge it as an add-on on the product. But now you say you don't charge it. That's really a big short change for you. I think you need to sit down with the consultant again and have a look at it on how you go about it. And I think part of it is that you need to write them and let them know why you don't charge and why you won't be remitting.
Thank you,
like I told you, this is my contact. You can chat
I've
me on
written it down.
WhatsApp.
Maybe I will call you after. There may be gonna be a conference call with my tax consultant. Because I'm also a chartered accountant, and sometimes we discuss that why should I be paying tax? But you tell me that it's a sales tax, and I'm not paying on virtually all my turnover, but there are some products I'm selling that are vatable.
Tax is very wide. It's just like law. No lawyer can know all the law. So sometimes, even when we sit down and we judge, let him bring his justification. I will bring mine. Then we'll meet at the middle and we'll look at it. And then we'll give you the best advice. This thing is always, knowledge is always evolving, around. So you can't be the monopoly of knowledge. It's by discussing it and looking for new information. So, and also asking the authority to justify why they're asking you to do that.
They can be very difficult. You know how they do. They will just look at you and just judge you anyhow.
Yes, but once you are talking intellectually, they must respond to you. I have a case where they were asking that my client to file returns, and my client is into sport development, and according to Section 23 of Company Income Tax Act, sport development company are exempted from paying tax, any form of tax at all. But they are now asking my client to file returns. So I'm arguing with them that we cannot file returns because we are exempted from tax. Why do you want us to file returns? Can I be liable to something that I'm not part of in the first place? And my client now took it further. In the schedule that contains all the entities that are exempted from paying tax, ministries, justice, police, army, all those ministry department and agencies, high courts. My client told me that the day he saw the filing that the high court did or the Ministry of something did to FRS, he also will file because they exempted both of them, or all of them, from tax. So you need to argue with them intellectually. Once there is a statement, they leave you. I've written to the authorities whereby they did contact me again because I'm having a superior argument. In fact, I've reduced liability in the past with just writing a letter without appearing for the client. I just wrote the letter, stated my point, put the evidences. They reduced the liability from about 600,000 to 60,000 without seeing me. I didn't show up. I just wrote them and even told them that they are owing the client. In fact, when I called somebody there, they now told me to leave the matter, that at least they've written off like 90% of the liability, that they should go and pay that 60,000. So when you come to the table with intellectual arguments, they listen. It's only when they see that you are not organized, they take advantage of it. So he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So once you come organized and with clean hands, they listen to you and they correct whatever.
Okay, we'll reach out to you after the program. Thank you very much. Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, I really want to appreciate all our customers that are in on this call. We appreciate you. We're still taking questions on tax, but I'd like to also announce at this point that Mr. Paul Fole is back on the call and it would be ready to answer questions surrounding sales. So if you have questions concerning sales, you can send them using the Q&A chat box if you don't want to speak verbally. But if you choose to speak verbally, to ask your questions verbally, please use the raise hand button to indicate, and then we'll enable your mic to speak. Still on tax matters, Akinloye Bukola Idayat, your mic has been enabled. You can go ahead to ask your question. Also, if you have general questions, maybe not around tax, not around sales, please, you can also send your questions, or if you wish to ask verbally, you just have to indicate. We have bankers here that are also experts in this business who can answer your questions. So questions surrounding Access Bank products or general products concerning your sectors, you can also call in to ask or send your question using the Q&A chat box. So questions surrounding tax, questions surrounding sales can be asked, and then general questions that are not within the two topics that we're treating can also be treated. So Akinloye Bukola Idayat, your hand is raised, your mic has been enabled. Please ask your question. Okay, while we wait for Akinloye, Victory Road Congregation, Usubi Delta State. Your mic has been enabled, your hands are raised, so please go ahead and ask your question. Victory Road Congregation, Usubi Delta State, Nigeria.
Hello, good afternoon. My name
Hi,
is Thompson. I'm from Warri Delta State. Please, we have been filing for FRS for some time. We have been paying, but the type of business we do is with a transmit logistic company, whereby we are giving imputed tax, as in on our invoices. We have the tax that is being paid, that is being imputed already, and we are not allowed to sell above a specific price because the company gives us the price we sell. So for some time now, not only we have been paying VAT tax to FRA, but for some time our tax consultant told us that we should not be paying. So we have been filing new, which is a deduction at source. That is what we have been doing. So my question is, if I want to obtain a tax certificate, how do I go about it? And then now that I'm filing nil, am I doing the right thing or under the law? So I just want a clarification on this matter. So that's what I'm asking. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for the question. Once you assert, you must prove. So what that means is that once you tell them, I don't have any VAT liability, I'm filing nil, you probably show them your records for that month, your bank statement, everything, for them to see that truly your sales is your sales. Now, you are not fouling any law. It is what you had that you can remit. It is what you charge that you can file. Since you didn't charge it, you cannot file it. So once you are trying to get a tax clearance, your claim will be verified. Once it's verified and they find it to be true, they will pay you. That means they will give you the tax clearance. Once they see that your product, is a VATed product already, so there is no way you can charge VAT on it. But you need to show the invoice where the company put VAT. You are just redistributing. So how can you pay and then you put another one on it again? It will affect your profitability, or it will affect your market pricing. The burden is on is a consumption tax. Why people go ahead to charge it is that it's a consumption tax. The burden is not on you. The burden is on the buyer. But the reason why you don't want to charge it is because it will be a burden on you in the market. Your distributor, your parent company have told you not to sell above a point and they have charged VAT. If those two are true, then you may not charge. But if the company have not charged VAT, but they ask you not to sell above a point, you can, you won't sell above that point, but you add VAT to that threshold they gave you, because somebody must bear the burden of that consumption or service, or whatever it is. So that way you charge it and then you remit. So because people should not mix up the fact that the company said you should not sell above a certain level, they charge VAT at source. They are two different things. The fact that they told you not to sell above a level is the arrangement between you and the company. Government will not be interested in that. And the reason why is that you are charging your buyer the VAT. So the burden goes to the buyer. The same way when you are buying something, the burden is on you to also pay because the product was VATed. If you eat in a fast food now, all these are telecom services, it's already VATed. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to pay. Same way you too have to charge somebody when they consume from you. But because this one is peculiar, that the product is just like you are selling the recharge card now. You can't charge VAT on it because it's VATed from the telecoms company. But in the case where it was not VATed, but because the company said don't sell more than at 10% margin or markup, so you don't want to, and then you feel if you put VAT clearly and you put your TIN number on your invoice, that shows that you are a VAT agent and the law allows you to put VAT. So the burden goes to the customer. So they pay, then you remit.
Thank you so much for that.
Let's be clear on that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. But if now I want to obtain a tax certificate, how do I go about it now? How do I obtain a tax certificate? Now I want to obtain, because I'm aware that maybe when you file VAT from January to December, at the end of the year, you want to have a tax certificate to show that you are VAT compliant. You want to show. So how do I get it?
Are you a limited liability company?
No, we are an enterprise.
Okay, so the tax clearance you need is not from FRS. The tax clearance you need is your personal tax clearance. Okay, that's the difference. The income of the enterprise is deemed to be the income of that owner, of the owner of the business. So what that means is that the tax clearance of the owner of the business suffices for the tax clearance of the company.
Okay, that you are talking about the personal TCC of the owner of the MD, right?
No, not just the personal income tax. So your tax,
Okay.
the profit of an enterprise
Yeah.
is calculated as though it's an individual. That's why you are liable to state government. So even if you make 20 million profit, that 20 million profit will be taxed by the state government. So the owner will remit it. The company profit is seen as the owner's profit. That's why they call it sole proprietorship. In enterprise, there is no board now. Or do you have a board? Do you have a board of directors? So it's peculiar. So the remittance will be whatever the company makes is payable to the state government of that place. So really, there is no running away. There is no running away. Only that for enterprise, you may be seeming to be paying a bit less than if you are a limited liability company. Because of some of the things. Let me add, because of some of the benefits you enjoy as the owner, all the expense that you can put on the company that will not be taken away, that you can also claim that is part of the operating expenses and all that. So by the time you load your expense with that, what you'll be declaring will not be that humongous. So you just pay that to the state government in your jurisdiction.
Okay. So after paying that, so it's the state government that gives us the tax certificate.
Yes, after that process, you now apply for tax clearance certificate. They issue it to you. But that's after that you can only ask for it after 3 years of operation and of complying with taxes.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that answer. We have a question for Mr. Paul Fo concerning sales. Mr. Paul Fo, could you please just say hi to confirm that you're here?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome back. Welcome.
Being here.
Okay, so the question is, I have a challenge in getting a good staff. All the people I employ always want to steal from me. As at today, I do not have any staff, I am still searching. What do I do? This question was from Ene Blessing.
So two things are playing out here. Number one, Ene Blessing, I don't know if I'm right. Do you get the staff yourself? Or are you using an employment agency? Very important. Because if you are the one that is doing it yourself, maybe that's why you're having the problem. Because with a good employment agency, they will check the people. At least they will do a little bit of check with the people, all right? And so if that's a problem, maybe that is an issue for you. Then you need to also check your controls. Because these thieves are telling that your business doesn't have control, doesn't have strong control. And with this type of business you are doing, your margins are small, and any small thing affects you. Check your control, build systems that fix your control. I would encourage you guys to invest in your business. Get a systems person, get a business structure person to look at your business from end to end and fixing very, very strong control. Because if your controls are not strong, they will keep stealing from you. It's not village people. The problem is your system. So get a recruiter, get a system person, you solve that problem. Any other question?
No, I think that question was answered very well. Aptly, if I may say so. There's another question here for Mr. Adeshino from Ayara in the Freke. Please, if you do not mind, I would require some clarity on what double taxation really means.
Yes, thank you very much. Double taxation can occur in many instances. Part of it is the VAT we are discussing right now, where that product has been vetted from the manufacturer, and they still expect you to put VAT on it. So it's either you are bearing the burden, or the authorities, or your customer will bear the burden. Now, also it happens where you reside in 2 states of the federation. It happens a lot to people in Ogun State. All those people that stays in the border area and also in Ogun State and works in Lagos. Now, the law says that your place of residence is where you stay, where you live for up to 180 days in a year. That's where you'll be taxed. So when they need land CFO, they need something in Ogun State will ask them for tax clearance that is issued by Ogun State. When they work in Lagos, when last month or something happen, or they get arrested for traffic violation, last month asks for their tax clearance paid to Lagos State government. So all those instances, create double taxation. So some people, for the avoidance of problem, they pay some taxes to Ogun State, without anybody forcing them, and they pay maybe from their workplace, they pay to Lagos State. But some states like Ogun and Lagos have understanding you can bring your tax clearance from Ogun State, for example, to do stuff in Lagos once you show that you are paying your taxes there already. But there are some instances where it is like a statute. Like I recall when you are doing a land or property registration, and you are probably based in Edo State. Now you want to build a property in Aja or Lekki, they will ask for your tax clearance in Lagos. And even if you bring your tax clearance from Edo or Delta State, they will still compute something for you to pay in Lagos, because you want to build that property in Lagos. And they will use that property, the value of the property that you intend to construct, as a basis to charge you to that tax. So sometimes it may not be, you can't avoid it, but you can minimize it. But it occurs where you have to pay tax twice on some product, or you have to pay tax twice on some locations. But if you are so adamant in making your case, you may just be delayed. You will not be denied, but it may take time. But why people succumb to it is because you need this thing for an urgent reason. You just need to pay something and move on. So you have a situation where you are a professional, you make money on the side, and you're also in employment. So you need something from Lagos State, for example, and they say you have to show evidence of tax. And then before you go to your company as the accountant, process your tax card, you have lost the opportunity. So what do? You quickly pay maybe 50,000 or something. You just self-assess yourself and pay so that you will not lose the opportunity. Maybe you want to buy property from the state government. So you quickly pay something, so that you won't lose that opportunity. So it's a situation where once it's urgent, we may fall into that trap. But we as consultants will continually guide you on what to do, not to be in that situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adeshino. I really commend your strength having to answer these questions back to back. Thank you very much. As we start to wrap up, I have another question from Amukoyo. The question says, good day, sir. My question is to Mr. Adeshino. Please, I want to ask a question. A company that deals in water production, should they pay VAT? This question is from
I've just replied to Mr. Amukoyo on the trail. Water will now need to seek expert definition whether water is a basic food item. Basic food item is exempted from VAT. but that is like normal gari, rice, amala, all those basic food stuff that you sell. So, but that's why I said tax is so wide in its interpretation sometimes. So let me ask the house, is water a basic food item? I think Paul said yes. Well, if the consensus is that it's a basic food item, then you are exempted because water is not produced and is not, well, now where they will say it's not a basic food item is that the water you are selling has been processed. So, and I think their intention for putting basic is because they just want it raw. The moment you take it through filtration and all that, lab and all that, NAFDAC approve it, is no more your normal water. So they will say it's been produced, it's been processed. So it's no more a basic item. So, but we will still seek further expert definition of what basic food item is. But as a taxpayer, and you want to choose the one that is simple for you, I will take it as a basic item. You may not charge or take VAT. Okay, somebody responded to me that I think once packed is no more basic, So I think that's why the same way biscuit didn't qualify because it's been packed, it's been processed. It's the same way water may not qualify, unfortunately. But because water is also basic, water is just natural, it's more like raw. That's why I said it's subject to maybe we'll get nutritionists or dietists or dietitian to define if it's a basic food item.
Very much.
Somebody replied in affirmative. Joseph Aleti said water is not vatable.
Okay.
So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Additional, for that distinction. We would be wrapping up soon. We'll be taking only 3 questions now from people.
Let me quickly answer Peter. Tax and VAT. Income tax is charged on your eventual profits. It is charged not on revenue, on your profits. And for now, if your revenue is above 100 million, your income tax is 30%. If it is between 25 million and 100%, they will charge only 20%. If it is between 0 and 25 million, you will not pay anything. Let me sell a trick. I want to do pro bono now. Now, if you want to avoid tax, which is not criminal, and then the law has said if your revenue is below 25 million per annum, how you can avoid paying tax at all? You can register like 4 enterprises. There is no law in Nigeria for now that prevents anybody from registering a number of companies. So you can register like 3 enterprises or 3 limited liability company or 4, and then register them as a distributor with those companies you are doing distributorship with. And then you make sure that they don't do more than 25 million revenue in a year. That way, cumulatively, they have climbed to 100 million, but because there are 4 companies, they are not paying. But of course, you need to look at the attendant expenses and management that goes with managing multiple companies. But if to avoid tax is your ultimate aim, you can just register more companies, make sure they do below 25 million. You are not even liable to VAT. You are not liable to anything. So these are tax planning we talk about. But, there is no gain without pain. If you do that, be ready to monitor 4 more companies, which may be a distraction on your bottom line and your objective. So whatever pays individuals should do.
Okay. Okay. We're going to take three last questions now. First of all, we're going to go with Okafor Emmanuel, after which we'll take Edafe, and then Dayo Ogun, we'll take Dayo Ogundigbe. So Okafor Emmanuel, please ask your question. We're racing against time and we're trying to wrap up. Okafor Emmanuel, then Edafe, and then Dayo.
Hello. Please,
sorry.
Hello, Edafi, go ahead.
No, please, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Mr. Edafi, Managing Director of Modafi Global Resources Exciting for that region.
Okay.
Yes, my question, the first one was on payment of the tax that we pay to the FRS.
Yes.
Whenever they to us, now that whenever they came to our outlet, they ask us, the Nigeria will supply us with input VAT.
Yes.
Input VAT. They also said we are not putting output VAT. But the FRS also charges us output VAT. So making our profit to be reduced. So how do we handle this thing? That's question number one. Question number two, go to access. Okay. Okay, yes, you can answer your own first. After your own, go for that. Thank you.
Okay. So input VATs are the VAT that are due from your purchases.
Yes. You pay down to Nigeria.
Output VAT are the ones due on your sales. Now, what the arrangement is that every time you are doing filing, you nil it off, you net it off. Now, if the one you are charging is higher than the one you pay while you purchase, that's an excess for you. But if the one you pay while you purchase is less than the one you sell, that's like you have to make up for the difference. So it's the difference that you pay at any point you are filing.
Okay.
You get it now. So what you pay and what you receive, you understand? The one people pay you and the one you pay out, you look at the difference. If the one you pay out is higher, that's like an excess for you. If it is lesser, then you need to match it up.
Okay.
So that's the input-output thing. So unless you don't have output, and if you don't have output, there is nothing to net it off against. Your liability will just be restricted to what you pay when you purchase. And it's a consumption tax. The only way you can avoid this is if you don't consume that product or if you don't deal in that product. Once you consume it and it's already charged on the invoice, the law says you should pay.
Okay.
That
okay,
is
now, hello.
Yeah,
yes.
go ahead.
Also track our volume. In a product, we have quantity complaints. Quantity complaints. For this one, I would say for a consignment trucks, 5 million naira. End of the day, we have a return of 1 million naira back to the company. But already the volume are already showing in the bank that we say this Nigeria doing 5 million naira. And
okay.
FRS
I get you. Like what you pay, what comes to you as profits from the transaction is 1 million naira, right? But what you pay on your bank statement, it will show that you pay Nigerian breweries 5 million, right?
5 million. When they supply the goods of the 5 million,
yes.
We have a quantity return the company of 1 million quantity complaint, that is bad one, bad product. Like for example, my car. If the car are leaked,
I know. So what happens to those 1 million bad products?
The company will credit us back as we rejected them, as we call them rejected.
Okay. So when they credit you back, what does FRS now say?
No, the FRS have already taxed that very amount already. The 5 million, they're already taxing it to charge us as our volume.
Okay. So that's what they call extraordinary income. That's what they call extraordinary income. It won't be taxed. It won't be taxed again. It won't be taxed again. Yes, because you have. So when your auditors are preparing the books, they term it extraordinary income. That is income outside your normal business activity, which had been taxed in the previous year. So it should be reported. So in their audited, in their notes, they will it's just like debt that was recovered, which had been taxed earlier. So that element will be removed from this current year income or profit. So they can't tax it twice. So that 1 million will be relieved. It won't be taxed. So you remove it from your bottom line first before you now tax, because it has been taxed before.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Okafor. Unfortunately, that's as much questions, verbal questions that we can take right now. So if you have more questions, please use the Q&A chat box to send the questions and they will be responded to. On that note, we'll be taking closing remarks from our two speakers, first from Mr. Paul Fo and then from Mr. Additional. Mr. Paul Fo, any closing remarks for our distributor customers? Additional, you could just go ahead to give some sort of advice or last comments to our customers. You're muted. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Access Bank, for creating this platform. I've gone around, I've been part of webinars and seminars and conferences. I have not encountered this because this is purely a customer service, a social responsibility by the bank. They are not, I don't believe they are doing this for any selfish reasons. They are trying to add value to their customers. It is laudable. I want to see more of this in the future. About the training, tax is not altogether evil or as dangerous. After all, snake is dangerous, lion is dangerous, but they still tame it, they tame them. We know nobody pays tax smiling, but let us begin to look at it from the friendly perspective, from the positive perspective, and then we'll begin to see the results. I told you I've seen the ugly, the good, the bad. I've done large tax, people that even do transaction in dollars, oil and gas companies. I've done a hospital that have just 20 staff. I've done trading company, Moshi, and I've done distributors like you in audit or in tax advisory. So I can say I've seen a lot. As bad as the authority may seem, if I can write a letter to say this client, in fact, you have really, because what happened to that client was that when the tax law changed in 2012, when the Personal Income Tax Act of 2011 came into being, they were still paying tax, which was higher, using the old rates of before 2011 for the next 3 years. So when I calculated that, you were even using the old rates, so you even have credit with the government. Where are they seeing this liability from? And I wrote them. They reversed the liability by 90-something% without seeing me. It's just a letter. And same for that company I told you had 127 million in 3 years. We worked on it, had series of meetings, provided evidence, and we reduced that to 21 million, 100 million naira savings. So it's possible, it's doable, it's by documentation, keeping proper record, and employing the right personnel and engaging the right professional, which we are here as Pro-Rata Consulting to continue to look at for you, to represent you and deliver on all this. Thank you once again, Access Bank, for creating this platform. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Additional Fatai. We really do appreciate you. Thank you for your patience, answering all the questions from our customers. We really do appreciate your presence here. Thank you very much. We'll take the closing remark from Mr. Paul Fo. Mr. Paul Fo, are you still with us? Okay, he seems to be having some sort of network issues. Well, we'll move on to take from one of the General Manager, Commercial Banking Division at Access Bank, Lukman Martins. He'll be giving us the closing remark as we bring this webinar to an end.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone, all our dearest distributors and customers. I'd like to say a big thank you for taking time out to spend some time with us today. We know you are very, very busy people, so we appreciate the time you have taken out. We also hope that you are able to learn some things today and you have gained insights in terms of how to improve your sales, to manage your business, and particularly to manage your taxes. So thank you so much for your time. You know, in this era where government revenue is much reduced, a lot of them have instituted several things to increase their taxes. So you'll be seeing more and more visits from their taxmen, whether at the state or federal government level. So I think this topic that we have discussed today is very timely, and I hope that if you have further questions, you let us know so that we'll be able to answer it. So thank you very much for your time, and we hope you have had a productive time with us, and we look forward to you attending the next seminar that we'll have. Thank you, and have a nice day, everyone.
With that closing remark from our General Manager, we would be bringing this webinar to an end. The Distributorship Forum is a webinar that is held once every quarter. So we employ you to look forward to the webinar that will be held in September, the third quarter anyway. Communication will be sent out to you on how to register and join for that. You agree with me that it has been a very interesting, educative, and truly inspiring session. And that is what we're about here at Access Bank. We are always looking for ways to add value to you, our customers, because you are indeed very dear to us. And with that, we've come to the end of today's webinar. We do appreciate every one of you that have joined, that have commented, that have applauded, that have asked questions and had their questions answered. We truly appreciate you. With that, we'll come to the end. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Bye. Okay.
Well done.
Well done.
whatever the dream or step, whatever the dream or journey or step, you can do more with a partner that cares about your dreams or journey. Access more than banking with a partner that cares about your dreams. Access more than banking. Some dreams are big. Some dreams are small. Some dream to go from place to place. Dreams of love and ever after. Dreams and sacrifices that builds the future. This is the future. This is the time to do more. Give more. Help more. Be more. A future where more compassion and more empathy will make us more human. A future where more technologies and more digital platforms will help bring more people to safety and prosperity. Welcome to the future. Here, you can be more with us. Access more than banking.
With star 901 hash, you have the freedom to do more. Get a loan, transfer money from Access Bank to any bank, buy airtime on all mobile networks, check your account balance, open a new account, inquire about your BVN, change your PIN, and generate your bank statements. Star 901 hash is convenient, simple to use, requires no data, and can be done on the go. Just dial star 901 hash to get started. Access more than banking.